15% off all in-stock composite decking from top brands like Trex, TimberTech, and Decorators. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. The deck's stacked in your favor with brands pros trust. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
He steps to the mic with a boom, ping, ping. Wisdom sharper than a beast's fierce sting. Words like fireflies that light the night. He turns the dark into blazing bright. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, all the airwaves king. Shake the ground, unveils the truth where lies abound. Politics, justice, social streams. He molds the chaos into dreams. No silence here, just the sound of change. Boom, ping, ping, rearrange. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, all the airwaves king. Through the static, through the noise, he amplifies the people's voice. Boom, ping, ping, like a heartbeat's call. He's got the wisdom to break down walls. Yeah.
Welcome to the program. Today is Monday, April 6th, 2026. Yet another senseless homicide over the Easter weekend in the city of Milwaukee. And these occurrences are becoming far too common. And as the weather gets warmer, we approach summer, expect more of these very unfortunate events. This problem, while not unique, it's not unique in a country where there's a lot of guns and not very much conflict resolution. But for the city of Milwaukee, which is not very large, and for the specific areas in the city of Milwaukee, there's homicides and crime and property crime. I'm going to get into all that later on in the program. It's pretty evenly distributed. The times of day are even evenly distributed. The types of crimes are evenly distributed. But a very particular, specific type of violence is unique to a pretty small piece of the geography of the city. And I'm going to give you the details, even though you don't need the data and the facts. I'm going to start from that standpoint. It is impacting African Americans more than anybody else when it comes to homicides, specifically gun homicides that impact black men between the ages of 18 and 29. Now, there's some variation in those ages. But for the most part, between 8 p.m. and 3 a.m., if you are an African-American male living in a very specific part of the city of Milwaukee, typically on the north side, you are at very, very high risk for something bad to happen. And because it's so concentrated, it is black people's problem to solve. Now, listen, I'm the first one to say that we live in a community, and what happens in one area does have an impact on all of us, because it does. Because our tax dollars are going to go and try and, we'll have an idea, we'll have a suggestion, we'll have a solution, and we'll fund it. I'm going to talk about funding, too. The amount of money that we spend, ladies and gentlemen, I just got curious. Like, how much money do we spend on violence prevention in this country, especially when it targets African Americans? The amount of money that we spend is so overwhelming, because when money is getting spent, when an idea comes to fruition and it's funded, maybe it's philanthropic dollars, maybe it's grants, maybe it's from the tax levy, there's so much money that is dedicated to preventing violence. There needs to be a certain level of violence so that people continue to make money. So when we come up with an idea, and maybe it's a mentoring program or something, I don't know, a government grant, the Department of Justice funds after-school programs, because the core reason why we have after-school programs is not just to help young people with their homework, but we know that when young people are inside of an open school after school hours, they are much less likely to be victims and perpetrators of crime. So they'll invest in keeping schools open. You have a bunch of different activities, and sometimes they'll bring the entire community in for different events. And I think that's a net positive. But when you have those programs that are being funded, whether it be through grants, whether it be through philanthropic dollars, someone is getting paid to administer them. The amount of money that is doled out every single year to prevent or curtail violence in the African American community specifically means that the violence that exists has profit motive. But it isn't the community itself that is victim of the crime, whether you're a direct victim or not. Your property values are impacted. The schools are impacted. The PTSD that exists amongst people. There's generations of people that have PTSD. And I don't think that we have quite caught up yet in specific areas in the black community in particular with the idea of getting mental health help. When there's a school shooting out there, first thing they do is they bring in grief counselors. I believe we have grief counselors available and at our disposal, but it's not usually the first thing that you hear when there's a homicide outside of the school, because kids are impacted, kids are affected. If someone was killed within a couple of blocks or within, I would say, the attendance area of a school, that really does impact the young people and the children have to walk a couple of blocks or live in that neighborhood where that crime took place. But I don't think that we focus on that. And if we don't focus on getting young people mental health help to help them cope with the trauma that undoubtedly they're going to experience, the likelihood that these things are going to self-replicate is very, very high. So I'm having Easter dinner with my family yesterday. And this particular homicide that I know that my colleagues were discussing that took place at Fremos over the weekend, it came up in conversation. Of course, I've got a very political family. We talk about current events and the city of Milwaukee and crime and culture. Basically, what I talk to you guys about, I discuss a lot of times with my family. And it's just, here we go again. Here we go again. But we also have to know, it is uniquely our problem to solve. And I'm going to give you more of a personal example, and I hope it resonates. So of my Caucasian friends that died before the age of 40, certainly before the age of 40, probably more like before the age of 35, and I can name all of them. My white friends that died before they turned 35 all got caught up in the heroin, drug, pill, oxycodone drug epidemic. So my white friends were killed. These are people some of them I grew up with. One guy I stood up in a wedding with. Several women that I'd known for many, many years. A very good friend of mine and he and I had something in common because he had a younger sister. So we were both, I was a sophomore, he was a freshman. We both had infant sibling. So he and I became very, very close because of that, because it's very rare that you're freshman, sophomore in high school, but you can't hang out with your friends because you got to change your infant siblings' diapers. So he and I became very close. He's dead because he overdosed. When the drug overdose epidemic reached its fever pitch, and probably in the 2010s, I mean, the deaths are still staggeringly high, and they do impact the African-American community, not as much on a per capita basis, because we're still concerned about homicides. But the point I'm trying to make is I did nothing about it. I was barely concerned. It was terrible. It was sad. It was very unfortunate. But if there is a problem that is uniquely impacting one cultural affinity group, one racial group, one demographic, one ethnicity over another, it's their problem. And that's a horrible thing for me to say, but I want us to look at the homicide problem in the city of Milwaukee, which we have. We have one, but it's not as bad as you think. It is as bad as you think, because when it happens, it gets news coverage. And there's video, and there's social media postings, and now there's this thing, because everybody has a camera. And people, it seems, are much more likely to film and record and upload murders and homicides and tragedies to social media than they are to mitigate or stop the crimes from happening in the first place. But hell, we saw that with George Floyd. The first thing that came to my mind when I'm seeing George gets slowly snuffed out after almost 10 seconds of being choked, or 10 minutes rather, of being choked to death. It's all these people were recording. Oh, there were so many great camera angles of his murder. And the most you heard from the crowd was, "Don't do that to him. Hey, you guys stop that. He can't breathe so good." And then there's blood pouring out of his mouth, and people are just, while they're holding their cameras, "Hey, there's blood coming out of his mouth. Maybe you guys should give him a break." The number of people that had gathered before George was actually unresponsive could have overwhelmed those cops in 2.2 seconds, but they didn't. And so it seems that the violent crimes that are taking place in the city of Milwaukee, in a very narrow strip of the geography here, are more frequent and more likely than they are because we see them on social media and there's going to be news articles. But it's our problem to solve. If you believe that racism exists, and some of you think that racism doesn't exist because Barack Obama got elected twice and that's what you're standing on. Obama got elected twice, there's no more racism. But for every other common sense person that believe it exists, hold me accountable to this if the homicide problem in the city of Milwaukee is narrowed down to like 3 or 4 zip codes, black men specifically between the ages of 18 and 29, if you don't live in those zip codes and you're not black, you're not between the ages of 18 and 29, nobody cares that black men are killing each other. We care, but everybody else doesn't. Just like I didn't care that white folks were overdosing. I'm like, oh, that's sad. Even when it was my friends, I was like, oh, this is a tragedy. Do you think that I started an organization? I did not. Did I start a foundation? Nope. Did I go on a march or a walk, a justice for people that have overdosed? I did nothing of the sort because that's a them problem. So we have to look at our homicide problem as an us problem, as something that we need to solve uniquely. Now, here's the thing. We'll get some help, but the help is going to come in the form of money. Whether it be different nonprofits, and we've got mentoring organizations, and we've got all sorts of things for the youth to do. There's a whole bunch of different things. We'll probably come up with new innovative ideas through the Office of Community Wellness and Safety, some fantastic ideas, and I would argue that we will see some success. But the success isn't necessarily a reduced number of homicides, because there's going to be a fixed amount based on a whole bunch of external factors. But it'll be the days, the evenings, the afternoons in which nobody was killed. That's how we got to measure the success. Oh, this was a successful Tuesday because no one was murdered. Now 3 people might get killed on Friday, but at least we had that Tuesday where no one was killed. So we have to measure success on days in which no one was actually killed. But the problem is uniquely ours to solve, and I don't believe that we are equipped to do it. And when we ask for help from outside sources, they're just going to provide the only thing that they can, money, but then the money is going to have strings attached because the money that is given in the form of grants and different programs, and they're going to start a whole bunch of nonprofits. We have a lot of nonprofits in the city of Milwaukee. but someone is making money off of that. Someone has a 401k, somebody has a pension, somebody's getting a salary based off of the number of black people that kill themselves. Now, look at this from a global perspective instead of looking at the trees, instead of looking at the forest. There's a cohort of people, I don't know if you believe this or not, that not only do they not care that black people, black men in particular, between the ages of 18 and 29 are offing themselves, they want it to happen because it saves them from having to get their hands dirty. And if they can some kind of way profit off of the homicides amongst black men in the city of Milwaukee between, say, 8 p.m. and 3 a.m. between the ages of 18 and 29, it's nothing but a business decision for them. So there's no incentive to stop the homicides if somebody can profit off of it, because it does a couple of things, right? It puts money in somebody's pocket, and it also rids the population of black men between the ages of 18 and 29. I'm going to take a break, come back. Going to get into the details of the conversation. Also, I asked you a question via YouTube because, you know, this is something that we do every day. If you haven't done so already, go to youtube.com or open up your YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device. Search 1017 The Truth and hit subscribe. Does the threat of violence impact your social life? So you read a story about somebody getting killed. Do you then make different decisions about where you go, what you do? Are you going to stay home? Are you not going to go out to eat? Are you not going to go to Fremo's on Saturday night for chicken wings because of the things that you see in the paper and the perception of violence in the city? Does it impact your social life? So before you answer that question, just know there are so many places and spaces in the city of Milwaukee where you can go where nobody gets shot. Nobody even gets into a fight. There's many, many places you can go. But they may not be your cultural forte. But do you sometimes think twice about going out or going certain places? Does the threat of violence, especially as summer gets closer, does the threat of violence in the city of Milwaukee curtail or impact your social decisions? Let's talk all about it on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, exclusively on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, it's that time again for the Tory Low Community Cleanup. Mark your calendars for Saturday, April 18th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. as we come together to clean up the city of Milwaukee. Be part of making a difference in our community. The Tory Low Community Cleanup, Saturday, April 18th, 8 to noon. Sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, Steinhoffels, Cousin Subs, Waste Management, and presented by the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District, your clean water partner serving Greater Milwaukee for 100 years.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Blue light on your collarbone, half smile and a crack phone.
The overall crime rate, I guess the number sounds kind of intimidating, but it's all incidences. It's property crime. Because usually if your house gets broken into, it's rare that a house gets broken into or a burglary takes place when people are at home. We saw the biggest dip in home break-ins during COVID because nobody wants, because y'all got a lot of guns at your houses, I come to find out. And if you know people are home, you think twice about breaking into the house because that's just not smart. Home break-ins are actually, like right now is when they are more likely to happen. I realized many years ago, doing this job, when I have a remedy for it now, but when I would start my radio shows, this is going back over 10, 15 years, when I say the date, and obviously you know what time it is, I'm telling everybody in broadcast range that I'm not at home. Stupid! So I had to get a whole bunch of security for my house because literally every single day I'm telling folks, hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm not at home right now and I'm not going to be home for several hours. So by all means, break into my house, open up my refrigerator and eat my barbecue. And a couple of people did, actually. But I got Fort Knox-style security now because I didn't even put two and two together. I'm like, oh, No one in the city would ever do that to me. I'm literally broadcasting and I'm not at home. Clearly, I'm not at home.
No guard dog?
First of all, if I had a dog, you'd probably be more likely to lick somebody's face. And dogs are too expensive. Like, if my dog got diabetes, it would just die. Like, if my dog got cancer or a tumor on its face, I would. Sorry, I'm not. No.
You don't like dogs?
It's not that I don't like dogs. It's just too much responsibility. Plus, it's not fair to the dog if you're not home a lot to engage it. And if I go on vacation or something, somebody's got to take care of the dog, and I'm not. And you got to do all sorts of stuff to socialize your dogs. And then somebody else's dog is off leash and it bites my dog. It's way too much. And plus, dog people are nuts. They bring them to the grocery store and stuff, sit them in the carts. That's insane to me. It's gross. I told this story about when I went to Jimmy John's one time, and it was just a golden retriever just laying on the floor. No leash on or nothing, just laying. I'm like, yo, what is this? It's disgusting.
I'm a dog person.
You can be a dog person, but you don't got to be nuts about it. There are some spaces that are for people. There are some spaces that are for animals. There are some spaces that are for people and animals. But when we start combining them all, like there's I don't want to name the place. I'm going to stop naming the places that I go. If you want to find out about fun social things, listen to the Milwaukee Experience every Friday at 11 a.m. But I ain't going to start telling you all the places that I go because I don't want to see some of y'all. No offense. Because when I go to hang out, I don't...
Sounds like a place in the Third Ward.
I have curated my social destinations in this city very carefully. Just like when you view certain content on social media and you look up certain things, it creates your algorithm. I have built my algorithm brick by brick to where it serves me really, really well. I was off of TikTok for probably 3 years. And the algorithm that I had 3 years ago is dramatically different than the one that I have now. And it's literally perfect. It's all of my interest areas and all of the content that I prefer to consume. And I've done so with my social life because I don't want to be in some of the places and spaces where an argument would turn into more than just two people disagreeing. The places that I go to, and plus I'm 51 years old. We don't fight at 51. I don't even argue with. There's nothing to argue about. I have no. If I go to a place, and I go to a few that might get a little crowded, and if somebody bumps into me, if I bump into them, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Hey, what's your name? Now I got a new friend. Where you go to some other place, you bump into somebody, you step on their foot, they want to shoot you in the face. It's so ridiculous. The total crime rate in the city of Milwaukee is 4,100 per 100,000 residents. The actual probability that you, anywhere in the city of Milwaukee, so this is all of our zip codes, will be a victim of any kind of a crime, and I'll list them in a little bit, is 1 in 24. It isn't bad, but it ain't that good either. 1 out of 24, if that's the likelihood, let's say there's 24 people in a room. One of you gonna get your car stolen. But 23 people are not. So the odds are still in your favor. The violent crime risk out of 100,000 is 69 or 70 out of 100,000. The overall rate of violent crime in the city of Milwaukee is 1,430 per 100,000 people, which is low. It's low. And there's places you can avoid it. But here's where I think the general public, and I'm talking to the general public don't commit crimes and are not victims. That's the part we're forgetting. But when we read these stories and these headlines, we think we're next. If you read about a shooting or if you read about an armed robbery or a carjacking, and you're like, oh no, it's going to happen to me. No, it isn't. You know what was eye-opening for me? It still is. The way we over-index, in a way, our expectations that we're going to be victims shoot up, because the media does have an ability to scare the hell out of people, especially white folks. They stay the hell out of the north side of the city of Milwaukee. Well, some of them should, because when they're in the north side of the city of Milwaukee, they're there buying drugs anyway. We cannot guarantee your safety, ma'am or sir. There was, who knows which one it was. I was talking about an incident of, it might have been Philando Castile. He was a resident of Minneapolis, Minnesota, sometime in the 2010s. He was a passenger in a vehicle. He was beloved by his community. He worked at a Minneapolis public school, and he was like the lunch man. He was the lunch dude. Everybody loved him. He was a great guy. So he's in a vehicle where he wasn't driving, and one of the officers came up to the passenger side of the vehicle and asked him for his ID, which you don't have to provide. Just so you guys know, if you're a passenger in a vehicle and the vehicle gets pulled over because it ran a red light or failed to yield or something, if you're a passenger in that vehicle, you have zero obligation. You're not operating a motor vehicle. You're not suspected of a crime. You don't got to give the police sugar honey iced tea. You don't have to, but a lot of folks do to be cooperative. Don't be unnecessarily cooperative with the police is what I'm going to tell you. I guess what you decide to do is up to you. So the police officer was an Asian fella too, which made everything much more complicated. When a black person has a negative interaction with a cop, it helps our case and helps our cause because we always have to look at every single granular incident to prove to people that racism still exists. But if a black person has a negative interaction with a cop that is also a racial minority, then it's a little bit more of a gray area. Then we have to look at policing overall as an institution of white supremacy. So Philando Castile provides his information to this police officer, but he tells the cop, hey, just so you know, I have a concealed, and this is all on body cam, I have a concealed weapons permit, I'm legal to carry, and I have a gun on me. The cop then shoots him and kills him. Philando Castile was not seen reaching for his weapon, none of that, but he did alert the police officer, which depending on the state, you do have to inform the police officer if you have a weapon. Wisconsin is not one of those states. However, Wisconsin also has zero sobriety, where our next-door neighbor, Michigan, does not. So in Michigan, they allow you to have the equivalent of 1 or 2 glasses of beer or wine and still carry your firearm. In Wisconsin, you can't drink at all. It's illegal. If you had any alcohol whatsoever, it's zero sobriety, okay? But you also don't have to tell a police officer if you are pulled over that you're carrying a weapon. Now, some people do. So Philando Castile tells the cop, hey, just so you know, I got a concealed weapon on me. Cop shoots him. And so the next day on my radio show, oh, my God, people were so angry. Like, Sherwin, we can't win for losing. Even if we as a black man are legally armed, they still shoot us and kill us. And it's horrible. It's very traumatic. And it's rough being a black fella sometimes. Sometimes it's really great, though. Sometimes black men don't tell you how good it is. All things considered, if I could design like the perfect being to be, I think I'd still be a black fella. Even with some of the bad, because it really isn't. It's not that bad. The man part helps a lot. Being a black woman, eesh. Yeah, it sucks. But as long that man thing, there's some male privilege. That's why I don't really participate in it, because right now it's popular for women to just absolutely lambaste and hate men online. Like there's whole like cultures and subcultures of women that just hate men. I don't care, because go ahead, ladies, have at it. I'm still glad I'm not you. So that's perfectly fine. Yell at me, tell me I'm terrible, tell us that we're awful, tell us that we're toxic. Go ahead. I'd still rather be a man. Because being a woman, just at the end of the day, doesn't pay enough. It's too low wage for me. You know, and then there's other things, I suppose. Some women may see it differently. Some women love to be women. And I'm not saying don't love to be a woman, but too much stress. You got to do your hair and your makeup. Or, I don't know, you could just wear pajama pants, slippers, and a bonnet. However, I digress. So then when I did my radio show the next day, when a lot of people were very, very upset that Philando Castile literally got murdered, and I think that cop went to jail. And then there was another situation where this one may have been in Ohio. It was a black man that was pulled over, side of the road, middle of the road, had a flat tire. He was sitting in his vehicle, and the police went, hey, step out of the vehicle. He's like, I don't want to step out of the vehicle. So it was a woman officer and a man officer, and they're forcibly trying to remove him from the vehicle. And the woman cop thought she was grabbing her taser, and she grabbed her service weapon and killed him. I think she went to jail, too. So we're talking about these incidents. This is 10 plus years ago on a previous radio show that I did, and all these black men were calling in, Sherwin, they're killing us. We can't get a flat tire. We can't even say that you have a concealed weapon and we're carrying it legally. They're still going to kill us. And then I started asking questions because it was back-to-back calls. I don't know what it was about that time, but there was an intimidation factor that existed that black men really, really felt. And I think it was the last years of the Obama presidency when the precursor to where we're at right now politically and socially was Barack Obama was actually a really good president. And if you hate black people and if you hate our progress, seeing Barack Obama get elected then reelected, and also here's the other thing that nobody expected. For the first time in American history, African-American voter turnout was 2 percentage points. It was higher than white turnout. So they really freaked out. That's when you started seeing all your voter ID stuff. So I think that there was like this sublime hatred, even more hatred toward black men, because even if America throws everything it can to make sure that black men and black children can't read, aren't successful, whatever, we still can excel and do really well. So all these men are calling, oh, Sherwin, they're killing us. And I would ask these men, I'd let them rant, of course, and I'd say, hey, when was the last time you've been pulled over? What happened the last time you were pulled over? Because we see these things and we read about these things like, oh, no, it happens to us all the time. But when I made it personal, I asked these men that were calling in thinking like, oh, I'm going to get murdered every time I drive my vehicle. I was like, when was the last time you got pulled over? 95% of the black men that I talked to either had never been pulled over ever. And I mean, they've been riding around dirty. Dope in the glove box, pistol on their lap, license plates ain't been renewed since 1927. And then there was the guy that called in, which was a story I will never forget. I've probably taken 50,000 phone calls in my career. There's some that you never forget. There's one guy, African-American guy. He was drunk at 7 o'clock in the morning. Hit a school bus. Cops come. Cop was like, are you okay to drive this vehicle home? And he was like, yeah, and the cop let him go. I'm like, if in fact we were getting murdered every time we interacted with the police, they definitely shouldn't let your black ass go. I was like, I would have shot you. He's like, yeah, I hit a school bus, Sherwin, and they let me drive home. So reading about it and seeing it all in the media and all in the news and all on social media, because every time an incident takes place, it gets replayed and shared and shared and shared. We think that we're the next victim. We statistically are not. I'm going to take a break, come back. I'm going to get into the details of exactly how likely you are to be a victim of a crime in the city of Milwaukee. Now, I will say this. Like 95%, this is not a good statistic, 95% of the cities in America are technically safer than Milwaukee. So damn near anywhere else you go, you're safer than here, but it's still relatively rare. We'll break down the numbers on the other side of the truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Still think you're going to use those old chemicals just sitting around under the sink, in the garage, or down in the basement? So don't let them sit there. Get rid of them right away. To MMSD's Home Hazmat Drop-Off Centers. It's safe, it's easy, and it's open to all Milwaukee County residents. There are 3 locations open year-round. The Torilo Community Cleanup is happening April 18th and with a mobile drop-off to help you clear out that waste. Visit us at MLK Elementary School at 3275 North 3rd Street from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Let's clean up Milwaukee.
The baked potato just became the main event. At Loaded Spud, we take comfort food and turn it into something bold. Fresh baked potatoes piled high with creative toppings like buffalo chicken, steak and cheese, and classic loaded favorites, all made fresh and built to satisfy. Big flavor, generous portions, no shortcuts. It's fast, affordable, and proudly local. Loaded Spud, Milwaukee's most unexpected comfort food. Stop in today at 789 North Water Street or visit online at www.letsgetloaded.online.
Breaking down the issues that shape our city and our future.
If oil gets to $90 a barrel, I'll be able to pay off my house. I think war is awful. It's terrible. It doesn't resolve things. It creates long-lasting hatred and even more conflict that the American people are always going to find themselves involved in.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 to noon.
But if I don't have a mortgage, you know what I mean? You take the good with the bad. Didn't Donald Trump say he was going to end the wars? You can't have America first if you're involved in all these foreign wars. And there's people that believed him when he said that. He doesn't like wars. He said it many times. Said it on the campaign trail.
Catch it live on YouTube or tune in to 1017 The Truth.
He's bombed just as much in his first year as any warmongering hawk president we've ever seen since World War II.
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone, like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Our phone number, if you're so inclined, is 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. If you've got questions or comments or whatever the case may be. Do you feel unsafe in the city of Milwaukee? Do you think the next time you leave the house you're going to get shot or robbed or get your car stolen? I also know that I'm talking to a broadcast audience, and some of you have, in fact, been victims, but the vast majority of you have not. Our question via YouTube is very simple. I'm curious about something. Do the news reports actually have an impact? Because there's an economic factor in all this as well. If you think that certain zip codes or parts of the city are unsafe, you probably aren't going to go there. You're not going to send your kids to school in those neighborhoods. You're not going to buy houses. You're not going to rent apartments in those neighborhoods. You will otherwise avoid them because the perception of their violence maybe precedes the neighborhood and you just won't go there. You know what else I was thinking about? I think about a lot of stuff, clearly. A lot of stuff. I'm just always thinking about stuff. When was the last time you saw, I'm talking locally now, hell, maybe even nationally, when's the last time you saw a known black-owned business advertised on TV? I promise you I watched TV all weekend and didn't see one. Why are we missing from advertising? Now, I work in an industry that thrives off of advertising. So if we don't have commercials, we don't have 1017 The Truth. Some of y'all think because it's free and public airwaves and you hear a bunch of public service announcements that we're a nonprofit. I assure you we're not. Where are our businesses and how do we, because you don't, I guess you don't have to advertise on TV. But if you want a lot of people to be your customers, you should. I don't see black-owned businesses really advertising anywhere. They'll have like an Instagram page or like a Facebook account, but who cares about that? That's not advertising. I mean, actual paid and targeted ads if you want customers in your door. Is that just me overthinking, or I want you guys to just pay attention. Like, don't change your viewing habits, but just be a little more mindful of when you're watching television. I know some of us don't pay attention to commercials, but when I'm watching like my like paid subscription services like Sling or Hulu or whatever, and they run these ads, those ads are targeted, by the way. So I got a television in my dining room, and then I got a bunch of TVs in my house. I'm a media junkie, what can I say? So I'll have let's say MS Now will be on my television in the living room. And then I'll go in the kitchen and make myself some lunch or some dinner, and then I will go in the dining room. And I want to continue watching the news, so I'll put my dining room television on. Different commercials will play. Even though I'm watching the same channel on two different televisions, because when I am watching my dining room television, it is almost exclusively news coverage. And so the ads that I see on my dining room television when I'm watching Sling TV, which is my preferred subscription service for television, is decidedly more cerebral and upstream as opposed to when I'm watching MS Now and I'm seeing commercials watching Sling TV on my living room television where I watch a variety of different programs. It is so fascinating, but I am just baffled and perplexed that African-American owned businesses, I'm not saying that they don't advertise, but I cannot recall one. I don't even know what we do sometimes as black entrepreneurs. Like, what do we sell? A lot of barbecue. We love to sell food. I think we're critical mass oversaturated with barbecue joints. All right. Annually, the probability that you will be a victim of violent crime in the city of Milwaukee is between 69 and 70. That's the chance. Annually, the rate is 1,430 per 100,000 people. Per 1,000 residents, 10.4 people out of 1,000 will be the victim of an assault. Robbery is even less. It's 3.11. Rape is even less than that. So out of 100,000 people, so the number is 0.70. So that is 7 out of 100. No, that's 7 out of a million. Homicide is even lower than that. It's 0.24 per 1,000 residents. So what does that break down to? So 2.4 out of 1,000. Yeah, that's right. So it's not common. It really isn't. However, those numbers for assault, robbery, rape, and homicide, which are minuscule, the likelihood when you leave the house for whatever reason, to go to work, to run errands, to go to your side piece's house, the likelihood that you're going to come back home is way higher, infinitely higher than if you don't make it back home because you got homicided. But yet we think like, oh, no, I can't leave the house because bullets. No, you're fine. We also are 2 to 3 times higher than the national average. Property crime risk, which is a little bit more common. This is vandalism. This is somebody breaking into your house and stealing your Kia or stealing your Hyundai or stealing your Altima. Side note, why would anybody willingly buy a Nissan Altima? What goes through your mind? What's your life like? Like, what do you do? Like, what kind of activities? I would love to do like a focus group study on the typical Altima driver. Why would you ever? Larceny, theft. Oh, that's kind of a lot. 1,255 incidents per 100,000 residents. The rate overall for property crime in the city of Milwaukee is 2,700 per 100,000 people. It's still small, but it's a little more common. Burglary, 388 incidents per 100,000 people. So about how many 100,000 people we got? 600,000 people in the city of Milwaukee. 2,400 burglaries in a year. It's not nothing, but it's not every single house. Property crime is more common than violent crime in the city of Milwaukee and is the primary driver of overall victimization in the city. Yet we don't talk about property crime unless it's car theft. Then there's for a period of time. That's all we were talking about on this show. It's car theft. Not really so much anymore. Just get a club, right? There was somebody was giving them away for free. If you had a Hyundai or a Kia, you could get a free club. Now, a problem with a club is sometimes people don't put it on the steering wheel. I got to be real careful because if somebody gets my cell phone, they can steal my car. If somebody gets my cell phone or my wallet, because my spare key is actually a credit card. And if somebody has my phone, because my phone's got a charger in it. Well, most phones do. And I get out the vehicle and I'll forget my phone. And the doors don't lock when my phone is inside the vehicle. So if anybody just tries the door handle and gets in, they can drive away in my vehicle. So it has a chime now, though. There was a button that I could turn on to where if I leave my cell phone in my vehicle, it just bing, 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 ding, ding. Sherwin, you're an idiot. Get your phone, get your phone, get your phone. And I go back and get it. I got to be careful of that. Violent crime plus property crime combined, a 1 in 24 annual chance of being a victim of combined violent crime and or property crime. There are 42 crimes per 1,000 residents. That is a percentage of 4.2%. These numbers are very, very low. But the media talking about these things, and you see stuff on social media. There's a whole Instagram page dedicated to Milwaukee crime. It's fascinating. I hate that I watch it, but it's so entertaining. Because when I see whatever somebody is filming, and they put it on this Instagram page, it's Milwaukee Reports 414 or 414 Milwaukee Reports or something to that effect. Whenever I'm watching, and it's a horrible thing. It's sometimes somebody getting beat up, it's shots fired, it's awful stuff. But I look at the landmarks, I play a little game with myself. Like, ooh, can I figure out where this is? Oh, that's 27th and Center. Oh, that's 9th and Locust. I shouldn't do that. You're not supposed to do that. But having the social media presence of crime, especially in the city of Milwaukee, makes you think subconsciously or maybe consciously that crime is much more prevalent than it actually is. Take a break, come back. I can't wait to get into the details of how much money gets spent on ideas to curtail and reduce and eliminate violent crime and homicides, because there's always an audience willing to spend money and invest in reducing crime. But if there's money that is invested in reducing crime, then somebody is also profiting. So it's a really weird kind of system. Yes, we want less and fewer violent crimes and less and fewer murders, but as long as they are happening, someone is going to profit. Meaning, if they stop happening, someone is going to lose their job, lose their salary, lose their benefits, and lose their pension. Talk about that and other things on the other side. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back shortly.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The revolution starts in our mind, right? You know when Gil Scott-Heron said the revolution won't be televised? Like he didn't mean that you won't be able to watch it on TV. He means the revolution starts in your mind. You nincompoop. Y'all been running around saying that for 60 years. The revolution won't be televised and didn't even know what the hell it meant. It starts with us.
Let him cook. Watch all your favorite 1017 The Truth shows by subscribing to 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
As the White House threatens to take over state elections, restrict abortion nationwide, and take away our health care, the Wisconsin Supreme Court is the last line of defense for our rights. That's why the Supreme Court election on April 7th is so critical. The ACLU does not endorse or oppose candidates, but wants you to make an informed decision. When it comes to abortion rights, Maria Lazar supported overturning Roe v. Wade and is endorsed by groups that want to ban abortion. Chris Taylor voted against abortion bans and defended abortion rights while working with Planned Parenthood. And on the issue of voting rights in Wisconsin, Maria Lazar defended efforts to rig elections for one political party through extreme gerrymandering of congressional and legislative districts. Chris Taylor opposes rigging the system with extreme partisan gerrymandering. On April 7th, stand up for our rights. Paid for by American Civil Liberties Union, Incorporated.
My overall experience with Gruber Law Offices has been phenomenal.
The treatment was excellent.
They will be supportive of you. They will listen to you.
It was a great experience knowing that I had people to help me.
I know I could count on them to do what I needed to get done.
Experience with Gruber was great.
They gave me my life back.
It was amazing.
He gets results.
We know how to win. If you've been injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Gruber Law Offices had my best interests at heart.
The Humane Animal Welfare Society, HAWS, believes in keeping pets healthy and families together. No one should have to choose between rent and veterinary care. The Wellness Clinic at Hawes Animal Shelter in Waukesha offers important basics of dog and cat care to our community. Pet owners can schedule general exams, sick visits, receive vaccinations, even get preventatives and nail trims. Appointments are available weekdays and can be scheduled by calling 262-542-8852. Contact Hawes of Waukesha today for your pet's care.
This April, it's Financial Literacy Month on 1017 The Truth, powered by UW Credit Union. Financial literacy isn't just about money. It's about confidence and making smart decisions for your future. UW Credit Union is here to help with free tools, expert guidance, and resources. From budgeting tips to one-on-one financial coaching and self-guided lessons you can access anytime. Because they're not a bank, they're a partner in your financial journey. Learn more at uwcu.org.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Let's take a look at the YouTube poll. Let's see if the threat of violence and crime impacts your social life. So I did vote in this poll. It does not impact my social life because Milwaukee is an unusual place. It's not a huge city, but some neighborhoods are so different than others. It's almost like you're in a different city. There's a different culture in, let's say, River West versus Harambe versus Amani versus Inderis Park versus Bayview versus, you get the picture. Each neighborhood, each community is unique. They have their own restaurants, they have their own bars, they have their own nightlife, and you can pick a culture or a location or a neighborhood based on your mood or what you want to do. We've got theater districts here. We've got a Deer district here. You got Water Street and Milwaukee Street and all sorts of different enclaves on the Upper East Side and the Lower East Side. Even those neighborhoods are different. The East Side that is near UWM is very different than Brady Street. I'm not crazy about Brady Street because Brady Street is dirty. Or maybe I'm impacted by what I remember Brady Street as before they threw millions and millions of dollars of investment. Brady Street used to be disgusting. It's gross. The houses were dilapidated. There was nothing but junkies hanging around everywhere. That Walgreens on Brady Street, that's where all the junkies used to hang out. But you had to be careful. Like, if you don't walk on Brady Street barefoot, or at least, well, don't walk anywhere barefoot. But there'd be needles in the gutter. It was so gross. Now, I also have seen what money and what investment can do to a neighborhood, and then it makes me wonder why, like the business corridor on, let's say, Center Street between 35th Street and 55th Street, if they put the amount of money that they put in Brady Street in that corridor, it would look like Brady Street. Now, the problem is it would gentrify all the black people out. But there's so many different places. So my social life is not impacted by the threat of crime and violence. Now, there's certain places that I just don't go. Would you catch me at Fremo's? Absolutely not. I wouldn't even go to Fremo's if a woman was there waiting for me to have sex. Sherwin, meet me at Fremo's and then come pick me up and then we can do it. I'm like, nah, I don't want it that bad. 63% of you say yes, the threat of violence impacts your social life. 37% of you say no. That's sizable. Now, if you look at those numbers in a different way, there are some businesses that may fail because they may be located in a part of the city that is known or has a bad reputation for being violent. There are some folks that are never going to go there and spend their money. They're never going to shop in certain neighborhoods, certain zip codes, because of this perception of violence. And if people don't go out, or if they choose differently when it comes to social activities because of the perception of violence, then that can have a real set of consequences for some of these businesses. The safest, oh boy, this is a big deal. So the safest areas in the city of Milwaukee, you have a 1 in 571 chance of being a victim of violent crime. And the highest risk areas and zip codes in the city of Milwaukee, you have a 1 in 83 chance. Yeesh. Crime is heavily concentrated in specific neighborhoods, meaning individual risk depends strongly on location. But let me tell you about the story that really started this all. So we were talking about this particular story at Easter dinner yesterday with my family because my aunt knows the family or a member of the family of the fella that was killed at Fremo's. And also his age. There's a point where, so if you're a black fella, like once you reach the age of 35, so 35 and under, if you're a black fella, so between 18 and 35, your number one cause of death is homicide. So then once you reach the age of 36 and you're a black fella, then you have like other things that will kill you, like, heart disease and diabetes, all the other fun stuff. But it's a milestone to be black and to make it past the age of 35 because your number one cause of death is being killed statistically by another black person. So typically, in Milwaukee, it's been weird lately because there have been like a lot of older people that are aged out of the highest homicide rate bracket that are still being killed. Like, what are you guys arguing over? I'd hate to think you're arguing over a woman. What, a parking spot? I'll admit I've wanted to fight over a parking spot, but I don't want to shoot anybody. A Milwaukee family spent Easter Sunday mourning the loss of a father who was shot and killed late Saturday night on the city's north side. Family and friends gathered for a vigil on Sunday on Milwaukee's north side. I noticed they mentioned north side. So who is this? This is TMJ. TMJ4.com. They mentioned north side 2 times in the first 2 paragraphs of the article. Family and friends gathered for a vigil on Sunday on Milwaukee's north side to remember 40-year-old Tremont Montgomery, known to many as Trell. Milwaukee police said Montgomery was shot just before midnight on Saturday in the 6400 block of West Fond du Lac Avenue. The 40-year-old was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say they are still looking for a suspect. Montgomery's family said he had been out celebrating when the confrontation outside a bar escalated and shots were fired. Quote, "This is our Easter. This is our Easter." Summer Jordan, Montgomery's sister, said through tears during the vigil. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 2.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Join us for the Tory Low Community Cleanup on April 18th from 8 a.m. to noon. A chance to come together, give back, and make our neighborhoods shine. Presented by the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District. This event is all about community pride and keeping Milwaukee clean. And while you're out, take advantage of the mobile drop-off, open from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at MLK Elementary School, 3275 North 3rd Street. Perfect for safely getting rid of unwanted items.
From the biggest plays on the court to the comments made in the locker room after. An in-depth recap of every Bucks game. In 6 minutes. No more, no less. Bucks in 6 on the Bucks Plus audio network. If you missed any of the game or just want to relive the biggest moments, Bucks in 6 provides game recaps every morning after. Hear the high-flying dunks from Giannis or the deep threes from Miles Turner. And catch the comments post-game about what happened on the court. Bucks in 6 on the Bucks Plus audio network. Find it now on bucks.com/plus or on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Want to protect our planet? The air we breathe, water we drink, and land we share? Real progress begins with birds. Yes, birds. The very ones we see and hear every day. On a walk, in the park, or simply out the window. That's because birds are more than birds. They're symbols, sentinels that reveal the health of our planet and our people. And by helping them thrive, all of us thrive as well. Audubon is a place where birds matter, where habitats are protected, where communities are engaged, and where change takes flight. Because at Audubon, hope begins with birds. Progress begins with birds. It all begins with birds. Audubon.
When I was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma, I had so many questions. I didn't even know that it was cancer. Now I do. It is cancer. Blood cancer. It's actually one of more than 100 different types, and they're all treated differently. Now, unlike some other forms of cancer, usually there's no tumor. You can't screen for it to prevent it, and the symptoms can look like other things, so it could be hard to diagnose. I had a fever for weeks. I was so tired all the time. I didn't feel like eating or doing anything else for that matter. And I know that this can feel scary. But if you know what to look out for, you'll know what to tell your doctor. And you'll feel more empowered to take the next steps. Like getting in touch with the people who know the ins and outs and can help with everything blood cancer related. Blood Cancer United. They work one-on-one with each person who reaches out to answer questions and offer resources. Blood Cancer United was there for me, and they can be there for you.
Go to bloodcancerunited.org to learn more.
Milwaukee's Black Talk lives here. You are listening to 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. I want to provide some solace to some of you because 63% of you say, yes, the threat of violence does impact your social life in the city of Milwaukee, and that's not good. I was giving some numbers and statistics of how often particular types of crimes occur, and it isn't very often. It is rare, but the perception is very real. Because if you're seeing these things in the news headlines, and of course we talk about them here on 101.7 The Truth, which I didn't really used to discuss, because if you start talking about crime in the city of Milwaukee, it's really all you're going to discuss, and you won't be able to get to other very important topics. It's not the only thing that is happening, but it's got very real consequences, because if people are not going certain places and not spending money and hanging out in particular neighborhoods, that does have a business impact. And so let's provide some information, some data, which when you think about it, it doesn't necessarily matter, because I can tell you, hi, person, your likelihood of being murdered is 1 in 13,000. So it isn't likely, but if you feel unsafe, the numbers don't matter. I'd imagine the mayor of the city of Milwaukee, I know the president of the United States does it, he'll say something like, oh, homicides are the lowest they've been in whatever, 2, 5, whatever arbitrary measure that they use. But if you have just been a victim, or if you lost someone that was very close to you, it doesn't matter that homicides are down 25% year over year. And that's where the numbers get, I don't want to say they get confusing, but they lose their meaning. I'm just trying to communicate to people, it is rare that it happens, but it's frequent you will hear about it. And it does not mean that you are next necessarily. Now, there are certain places where the likelihood is elevated. Now, the other thing with that is, I think there are some folks that like to go to those kinds of places. If you almost have to look at the group of people that we are chasing in the city of Milwaukee, because they are the ones that are responsible for the overwhelming majority of violent crime, it's a really small group of people, and they're transient, they move around a lot, so you can't necessarily pin them down in one neighborhood. And even if we had alternatives, right? If you're an adult, an alternative to committing a crime would be jobs. If jobs are plentiful and economic opportunities are robust, then we think that, oh, these people won't shoot and kill and rob because they'll just get a job. But also, look at the younger cohort of that same group. This small group of people that's causing all the trouble, people that are of age, in their 20s, maybe their 30s, that are committing violent crimes. We want to create jobs so that they have something to do with their time. They're more productive. But if you look at the younger cohort that are doing the takeovers, as an example, we think that if we build more basketball hoops and more roller skating, that, oh, they'll want to participate in that. No, they won't. The subset of people that want, I shouldn't say want to, they are okay with ruining somebody's night, closing a business, and committing a homicide. No matter how many jobs are available, that is not going to be the route that they ever pursue. So with the younger people, if we're assuming that these takeovers are in fact young people, the number of mentorship programs, college tours, roller skating activities, or whatever stupid stuff we as adults come up with, the kids that are doing the takeovers and that are the most violent are never going to do any of the roller skating and the basketball and the college tours. We just think that, back in our day, here's all of the stuff that we had to do. But also keep in mind, a lot of you were really good kids. And you did good kid stuff. And there's always been activities for good kids. There's a library that's got some kind of a readathon program. There's social places where young people can go. We still have teen activities and after-school programs and extracurricular activities, or even getting your kid involved in a sport. It literally is as simple as that. Why more parents don't get their kids involved in sporting activities? Your kids are not going to be out there doing that stuff. And they're going to learn teamwork. They're going to have goals, right? There's a lot of self-improvement. And also, if you have a decent coach, that actually can help improve a young person's performance in the classroom, especially if they love that sport. You should make your kids participate in a sport. Make them do something. I played the violin in 5th grade. I was a terrible violinist. But to this day, I still can play Mary Had a Little Lamb. Well, my parents made sure I was involved in stuff. So I did violin in 5th grade. 7th grade, I took guitar lessons. Still play a little bit. I own a guitar. I play a little bit. I ain't going on tour or nothing. But I'm okay. I can fake it. I know like 5 chords real good, and I know a couple of pentatonic scales on a guitar. I sound like I could be a blues man. I'm not very good. And then I played sports all through high school. And it kept me out of a tremendous amount of trouble. It could be just as simple as that. But for some reason, we think we got to come up with new stuff. We got to come up with new things for the young people to do. And great, I'm not against that at all. But the ones that we want to participate never will. I heard, because I listened to my colleagues this morning, because I knew I was going to talk about, this particular story today, so I wanted to hear their take on it. Conflict resolution, while it should be offered in schools, because people think like, okay, well, these people, they don't know how to solve conflict. They're not going to put conflict resolution as a class in school. If you look at the double-digit percentages at which children can't even read or comprehend, you got to get the fundamentals first before you offer something like conflict resolution. I did a critical examination of these mentorship programs. You're not going to like what I have to say about them. I'm almost thinking about keeping it to myself, because if the environment that the child is in is one that is pure poison, it's pure toxic. There's emotional abuse, there's neglect, there's physical abuse in that environment. And it's in a lot of these environments. You will find that most troubled children have all of that stuff in common. Very few of these kids, now there's a couple, have come from good homes where you got a mother and a father and they're married. Very few of the worst young people under the age of 18 come from 2-parent households where the parents are married and decent income is, coming into the house, whatever. It's usually, single mother, single father, whatever. A lot of poverty, etc. So if a young person who is just hanging on by a thread and you don't want them caught up with the wrong people, you might get that young person paired up with a mentor. Probably an African-American young man or boy. You pair him up with an older African-American man. But the environment that this black boy is growing up in, whether it be at home or even their social circle, is pure poison. How much good is the mentoring really going to do if the child is just going to return to the environment that is full of venom? There's no mentor man. If a man is mentoring a black boy, can that mentor, however many days a week, overpower what that mother is pouring into that child every single day if that mother is pouring in poison? Or maybe a father or whomever. But then also, here's what we're asking people to do, and this is the part that bothered me. We're asking because we need more black male mentors. Somebody tagged me in something like, oh, we need the black men in the community to step up and mentor these kids. So you want me to take time away from my friends, my family, and my life to go take care of another child that ain't mine, that I can't claim as a dependent. It's like you want me to take care of this child, but I can't even have sex with the child's mother? Like, what, what I'm saying, though, like, what, I can't claim him as a dependent, so what? You want me to stop my life to take care of somebody else's child? I'm not going to ask the question where the father is, because then I'm going to get in trouble for that, but it just makes zero sense to me. You are asking me to provide a better environment for that child than where the child lives. Then the only real option is for me to adopt that child. Because I can give this child a whole bunch of different suggestions and ideas, and I can do great things with them while I am with them. But when they are at home, they're being filled with poison and venom. And what benefit am I getting? I think that there's a helplessness that troubles me about our black African-American community. Even though we're a whole bunch of individuals, we're still looked at the same, so I call us a community, but we're very different from one another. If I throw garbage on the ground in front of my house, somebody will come and pick it up. I don't have to be responsible for anything because somebody else will take care of it for me. I can have zero interest in wanting to raise my kids, and I can leave them with grandma. Or I could get them involved in a whole bunch of stuff or get them a mentor. Like, I don't even have to take care of my own responsibilities. I don't have to pick garbage up because somebody will come pick garbage up for me. I can live in complete and total squalor and somebody will come clean it up for me. I don't have to take care of my kids because somebody will take care of them too. So before we get to the conflict resolution, I think those things need to be addressed. But the mentoring thing is because you might have a black dad who has his own children, his own family. We're like, hey, black dad, for a while, screw your family and your kids. No, leave them alone. Go and mentor this boy over here where this mother is incapable. So screw your own kids, not totally, but just for a little while. Tell your kids you're going to go spend time with another kid across town because, you want that child to be successful. What? Now, here's the thing. There's some people that they're saintly and they really want to help. Oh, they want to help and they'll sign up to be a mentor. But if the environment that person is in, you know how many mentors will tell you that they mentor kids and they've done it either professionally or as not a hobby, but something they do in their free time, whatever. And then by the time the kid they're mentoring gets 16 or 17, they get killed or they go to prison forever. You can only do so much. And you need to have complete and total access to that child. But you also need to have, to be a successful mentor, you got to have influence over that child's environment. Like, you got to be able to tell the mama, hey, mama, you can't do this. You can't raise your boy like this. You got to do this differently. And how many mamas is going to listen to that? They're not. I think that's one of those programs. And again, I'm not trying to poo-poo mentoring for people that do it and you love it. Wonderful. But it's the environment that we are worried about, because there's some environments that, had any of us grown up in some of those poisonous, toxic environments where it's nothing but physical abuse, emotional abuse, maybe even sexual abuse, and just pure neglect, we would all be a bunch of killers too. Or our tempers would be so short and our fuses would be so short that killing somebody would never be out of the question. Because if you don't have much, you have your pride and you have your reputation. And if you have nothing else, you don't have goals, you don't have a productive future. If everybody you know, especially male figures in your life, are either in prison, they've been to prison, or they have all been killed, like, you got to really imagine what life is like for somebody like that. They're not going to go to college. They're not going to get into the trades. They don't have a bright financial future. Things are very grim for them, absolutely all the time. But the one thing they do have is their pride and their self-respect, and if someone threatens that, they will kill them. So we got to go way upstream to make sure that young people, starting in I don't even know what age, always have something good and positive to look forward to, and they should never do anything or act in a way that will sacrifice the positive future. But I can look some kids in the eye and tell them it's not going to work out for you. It isn't going to work out for everybody, ladies and gentlemen. I know that we want to save everybody, and I think that attitude mostly comes from the women that lead our community. They think that we can save everybody. No, we can't. You got to thin the herd sometimes. Sometimes just people are not good people. Everybody is not redeemable. I know that you think that they are, but that only hurts us. Now, there's some people that are in these poisonous environments. They recognize it and they want to get out. And they'll do anything to get out. Those are the only people that we can work with. But to think that some of those leopards are ever going to change their spots, like that is the environment they're in. They like it. They like it. They like the drama. They like the conflict. It makes them feel alive. So even with the young people that are doing the takeovers, we can have a whole bunch of youth center programs so they don't go to the takeovers, but some of them like it. Y'all mean to tell me, even as adults, don't we all know people that are addicted to drama? They love it. They got to have it. It makes them feel alive. I know grown women, 50 years old, love drama. Just love to start some mess. Just love to be in some conflict. Love to start a fight. Love to be in a disagreement. There are some people that love it. What are we going to do about them? I hate to admit that there's people actually in their 50s or older that just love it. They grew up in a drama environment. Terrible. How Milwaukee compares. Milwaukee is safer than only 3% of U.S. cities. Well, that's not good. The overall crime rate in the city of Milwaukee is 95% higher than the national average. Well, this is not a good thing. Annually, you have a 4 to a 4.5% chance of being a victim of any kind of crime. That is roughly 1 in 24. Violent crime, you have a 1.4 to a 1.5% chance, or 1 in 70, of being a victim of a violent crime in Milwaukee. These numbers are actually reasonable. Property crime is a little bit higher. In fact, it's the highest. You have a 2.7 to 3% chance, or 1 in 37 people in the city of Milwaukee. This is not the suburbs. This is just the city. 1 in 37 will be a victim of a property crime, like your Nissan gets stolen, your Altima. Somebody said in the YouTube chat that they bought an Altima. Who said that? Lady B says, Sherwin, I purchased a Nissan Altima 11 years ago and the transmission went out a few weeks ago. It was a good car, she says. I should have drove you around in it before it went out. No, you shouldn't have. I can't be seen in an Altima. Y'all gonna think I fell off. Y'all see me riding around the city in the passenger seat of somebody's Nissan Altima. First thing you gonna say about old Sherwin is, ooh, Sherwin must be on that stuff. Y'all see Sherwin riding around in that Altima with the bumper cover hanging off of it? He must be on that stuff. Po thing. Yep, you know what? Sherwin probably is on that stuff. I listened to him the other day. He didn't sound like himself. I know how y'all are. Y'all be starting rumors about your boy. I even got hate because I interviewed Francesca on Friday from someone who is literally a nobody that thinks that they can be governor, had the nerve to hate on me because I interviewed Francesca.
That was a great interview.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was good. It was all right.
Did she sway you?
I'm not easily swayed. I'm only swayed by the prospect of victory. Once we get close, we have no idea what's going to happen. Tomorrow, Trump said he's going to basically bomb Iran. He hasn't ruled out nuclear weapons, by the way, which I don't think he's going to do anything. But it's too hard to predict what's going to happen tomorrow, let alone where the electoral sentiment is going to be come November. So who knows? I don't know. I'm going to talk to a couple of other candidates. I'm going to let you guys hear from them as well, because what I'm concerned about is the very low number of people that are even paying attention to the gubernatorial race in the state of Wisconsin. I want to get those numbers up. So maybe by me having conversations with some of these candidates, there's some candidates I'm not going to talk to at all because that's a waste of their breath and our time. Because if you don't have a credible shot at winning, stop. Just because if you know you can't win. If the Milwaukee Bucks know they're not going to be national champions this year, then just play the bench. Like, you know what I mean? Take your starters out. Don't waste anybody's time. If you know you can't win, and there are, of the 7 candidates on the Democratic side, including a Democratic socialist that are running for governor, 4 of them legitimately have no mathematical chance, no numerical, statistical chance. They can't raise the money. They don't have the right pedigree, the right resume, the right level of experience. They don't even connect with people. If you can't connect with people, you can have a poor political resume, because your political resume doesn't matter anymore. It used to matter. Now it doesn't matter. But if you can connect with people and feel and seem authentic and share their pain, they'll vote for you over someone who's got the best political resume ever. Hillary Clinton had a great political resume. Donald Trump didn't have a good political resume. His wasn't very good. And Hillary lost real bad.
James Comey didn't help either.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, it's that time of year again for the Tory Lowe Community Cleanup. Mark your calendars for Saturday, April 18th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. as we'll be cleaning up the city of Milwaukee. You can also safely get rid of hazardous household items thanks to MMST. Drop off your items from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at MLK Elementary School. We're talking things like all antifreeze, paint thinners, batteries, and pesticides. Sign up now at ToryLoweCleanup.com. The Tory Lowe Community Cleanup is sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, Steinhoffels, Cousin Sub, and Waste Management.
The Humane Animal Welfare Society, HAWS, believes in keeping pets healthy and families together. No one should have to choose between rent and veterinary care. The Wellness Clinic at Hawes Animal Shelter in Waukesha offers important basics of dog and cat care to our community. Pet owners can schedule general exams, sick visits, receive vaccinations, even get preventatives and nail trims. Appointments are available weekdays and can be scheduled by calling 262-542-8852. Contact Hawes of Waukesha today for your pet's care.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 101.7 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about four walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your family's tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Here is the worst part about the crime and violence and homicide statistics in the city of Milwaukee. And it probably is similar if you live in another city that has at least a 25% African American population. That's probably a lot of metro areas got 25% or more African Americans. The victim demographics of violent crime, especially homicide, are black, 80%. If 80% of homicide victims nationwide are black, that's a black people problem. It's an everybody problem if I look at it objectively, but nothing is objective. Nothing is like, oh, look, we have these people, this particular group, this demographic, they're suffering. They might be disproportionately poor. Maybe they're undereducated. Their incomes are low. They have low rates of health insurance. We can look at all these negative indicators of this group. But if we can classify and quantify that group by race, we make it that racist problem. If you as a white person feel that you're losing your country, I'm going to humor you for a moment. Because there's been a lot of progress by people that you don't like. Immigrants have made progress, or you think that they will. They're going to take your jobs. or African Americans, you believe, and we only get, as black people, you might believe that we only get opportunities because of DEI, and you really hate DEI. You only think that black people get into colleges and universities because of affirmative action. You really don't like black people. And then, so you have these negative attitudes because you're not doing well, because you are impacted by the economy overall. Gas prices are hurting you, grocery prices, inflation, your wages are too low, you're not happy at work. All those things. And it's easier for you to blame undesirable people because what America does is it feeds you hatred about these other people. Plus your algorithm in the social media that you consume probably backs all that up, right? So you don't like black people. Or, you read a lot of stuff about black folks and you're always in the comment section of news articles where there's a homicide on a black side of town. When you find out that 80% of the victims of homicide are black, what are you going to do about it? You're not going to do anything about it. You think that number, 80% of homicide victims in the city of Milwaukee being African Americans and African American men, actually helps you out. Because if you don't want immigrants here because you think they're going to take from you, and if you think that black people are either taking, we're doing one or the other. Either we're lazy and we're taking up all the social service resources, we're taking away all the food stamps and all the welfare, or we're getting all the jobs and getting preferential treatment and getting promotions and getting into colleges and universities. Either way, you don't like black people. Side note on SNAP benefits, they would not exist if white people could not benefit from them more than anybody else. There has rarely been a social service program where white people didn't benefit more than somebody else, either as recipients or administrators. So stop thinking that we have social services and welfare programs to benefit black people and black people only. Now, if you qualify for those programs, you're able to get them. And sometimes by race, some people are more qualified for rent assistance and heating assistance, energy assistance, food assistance, whatever, than other people. It might be more black people qualify, but they were never created for black people. This country would never do that. In fact, we withhold some opportunities and some benefits from the American people because we know that black people would, in fact, qualify for them. Student loan forgiveness is probably the biggest one. Black women who've got higher levels of education than damn near any other demographic group in this country also were heavily burdened by student loan debt. So Joe Biden was like, well, forgive their student loans. And people had a fit about that. A lot of people miss, or maybe they don't miss, maybe this is why they hate Joe Biden so much. He did more for black women than Obama did. Now, Obama, his first act that he signed into law, which was very symbolic, the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, which made it easier for women to sue if they were paid less for the same job. It just made it easier for them to sue. It didn't really even out wages. It just meant if a company was paying a woman less, the woman had a lower threshold in order for her to win a judgment. But Joe Biden, he went all the way for black ladies. It is a whole bunch of stuff that we didn't see. He appointed more black women to the federal bench than in the history of the country. Like, that's a big deal. You know what else is a real big deal that we oftentimes overlook? The appellate court. In all the years I've been broadcasting, trying to get people to better understand the appeals process. Okay, so let's say you get convicted of a crime, and I hope that you don't. I don't want you to get convicted of a crime. Well, I don't want you to commit one either. But let's say you were convicted of a crime and then you were found guilty. You want to appeal. A lot of people appeal. Everybody appeals, even if they committed the crime. Hell, Jeffrey Dahmer probably filed an appeal, and he ate a lot of people. Hell, I don't know what kind of appeal he was expecting, but, well, he wouldn't have made it through his appeal anyway because they killed him in prison. He wasn't long for this world anyway, because if you eat black people and you're in a prison full of black people, they probably were better off killing Jeffrey Dahmer in prison just to not be eaten. But not eaten in a good way. Eaten in a bad way. That's probably not. Is it too soon to joke about Dahmer?
I don't think so.
Okay.
He's a city legend.
Glad he's white, though. Because if it was a black cannibal, we would just never be able to live that down. So the appellate court is, if you were convicted of a crime, let's say wrongfully, you appeal. Appellate court judges have a tremendous amount of power because those are the ones that let people out of jail. Like, oh, an appellate court let Bill Cosby out of prison. We sometimes forget that Bill Cosby did at least a 3-piece. Here's what I'll say about Bill. I wish he didn't do any of that stuff. I really do. And I feel awful for the victims. I really genuinely do. However, I love The Cosby Show. I still do. I loved the animated show that I watched throughout the early part of my childhood called Fat Albert. He did the voices for all those characters. You know that? I just love Bill Cosby. I used to watch his comedy. I remember listening to Bill Cosby stand-ups on record. Do you guys remember when comedy albums, like there were albums? But he appealed and he got out of jail. So the two individuals that are running for the Wisconsin State Supreme Court are current appellate court judges. Clearly, Chris Taylor is the favorite. The election tomorrow will not change the balance of the court, but what it will do is it will solidify anti-Trump judges serving on the Wisconsin Supreme Court at least through the next census and the next redistricting period of 2030 and 2031. So if you're a Democrat and you prefer Democratic policies and you want more Democrats to be elected in legislative districts, then Chris Taylor should be your candidate of choice if you want maps in the state of Wisconsin and how we are represented to be more equitable and to be more fair. I haven't really talked much about that race. It also hasn't reached national levels of attention, well, which shouldn't matter. But the last state Supreme Court race we had, Elon Musk put like $10 million, and he still lost. So I think when conservative forces that can win elections by overwhelming and flooding the system with money, when they lose like they did with Brad Zimmel in that was last year, then they just don't even waste their time. I also think that conservative causes have shifted their spend into districts that they want to hold in the U.S. House of Representatives, because if Trump loses the House, assuming he doesn't cheat and try and federalize our elections, there's going to be a dozen or more articles of impeachment. And there's also a really weird sentiment in the Senate. These U.S. senators are sick of Trump. Now, can we get to a 67-vote threshold to actually throw him out of office? I don't know. But I know that the Senate, more Republican senators will vote to convict Donald Trump this go-around than when he was impeached in 2018, 2019.
You think?
Oh, good God. Oh, they're so sick of him. The war is what did it. Because now these Republican senators who were safe in their seats, more Senate races are at play now because of this war. Prices was going to put some Republican U.S. senators in jeopardy. Oil. Another thing about oil. Do you know how long it takes? You know how fast an oil tanker moves? 10 to 15 knots. That's somebody pedaling on a bicycle real fast. Think about this. If an oil tanker, which carries between 2 and 3 million barrels of oil, leaves the Strait of Hormuz, let's say it comes from Saudi Arabia or Dubai, it takes a month and a half to get to, it's got to go all the way around Africa, all the way around the Cape, all the way through the Caribbean, and then to our southern port in Louisiana. It takes like 2 months. So there is literally oil arriving now that left before the war. Here's the problem. Places like Japan and India that are way more dependent on oil, their oil shipments are just starting to run out. People think that the oil comes from the Middle East and it gets here right away. No, it doesn't. First of all, we get the majority of our oil from Canada. Like 70% of our oil doesn't even come from the Middle East. So we're going to be okay as far as supply goes. We are not going to be okay as far as price goes. But there's oil. That's why it seems like it's eerily quiet, even though there's been a slight uptick in gas prices for those of you that have to purchase gas for your vehicles. Slight uptick. Because oil is still arriving at ports that left before the war started. Now what you're going to see in the coming weeks, because there's nothing leaving the Strait of Hormuz, or very, very little, and every time you fill your car up or buy plastic, even our medications are formulated with petroleum derivatives. things are going to start getting expensive heading into the summer months, and also it's travel season as well. More people are taking road trips. The demand for gasoline and fossil fuels is going to go up. So that in and of itself has made Republicans vulnerable because the economy is always the biggest selling point. But Trump lying, the war is going to make the lives of some of these Republicans more difficult. And if an incumbent Republican gets primaried, they will likely be primaried by someone who, in my opinion, because Trump's approval rating is so low that his endorsement is poison, where for many election cycles, someone with the endorsement of Donald Trump would win. Now it's someone who doesn't have Trump's endorsement, a Republican, is more likely to win in some of those Republican states when it comes to U.S. Senate races. And they would vote to convict because Donald Trump is leading them down a path to nowhere. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The baked potato just became the main event. At Loaded Spud, we take comfort food and turn it into something bold. Fresh baked potatoes piled high with creative toppings like buffalo chicken, steak and cheese, and classic loaded favorites, all made fresh and built to satisfy. Big flavor, generous portions, no shortcuts. It's fast, affordable, and proudly local. Loaded Spud, Milwaukee's most unexpected comfort food. Stop in today at 789 North Water Street or visit online at www.letsgetloaded.online.
Put Brewers weekends back on your schedule when the Crew take on the Nationals April 10th through the 12th. Collect a new Mish trading card bobblehead for the first 25,000 fans on Saturday the 11th, courtesy of Toyota. Then reserve Sunday for a full day of family fun. Kids can run the bases, get autographs, and the first 5,000 kids get a Brewers wiffle ball set, courtesy of Joy. Plus, it's a kids cheer free Sunday. Grab your seat at brewers.com/tickets.
Do you hear that? And that? And that? Those are the sounds of a healthy and vibrant community. And to this United Way volunteer, nothing sounds better. They're the sounds of children being given greater chances to succeed in school. The sounds of neighbors receiving the support needed to overcome challenges, both big and small. They're the sounds of families gaining access to quality health care and nutritious food for their tables. And they're the sounds of members of our community who've benefited from United Way's financial education programs. See, wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way. People working together to respond and growing the good for everyone. United is the way. So join us by getting involved or giving back. Learn more at unitedway.org.
70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone, like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I love this, this sounds like an 80s song. That 80s synth pop music. This is actually a brand new song.
Well, it's coming back.
By Sunglasses Kid. Let's talk to someone who always comes back. Linda, remember when you sat on my lap and you was rubbing all over me? Remember that?
I wasn't rubbing all over you. I was just sitting on your thick thigh.
That is
Good morning, Professor. Good morning to all the beautiful black and white people of 101.7 The Truth in Milwaukee and America.
Hey, Sherwin.
I'm driving around the city going to the Wisconsin Blank for, a rental sign because, I had to get out the daycare. It then turned into a hustle, and they forgot about the kids. And so, my ambition, my objective is to teach the children, get that early education grounded in them.
Okay.
And so that they will have a thirst for learning when they get older, just like children at a early age need spiritual foundation. They need to go to church.
Amen.
And Bible class and Sunday school so they can get some scriptural, spiritual foundation as well.
Okay.
But that's my belief. I'm driving through the city, Sherwin, and I'm discouraged. I'm upset, and I'm just outraged at the we call some things desert food, but what about the desert communities with these dilapidated, sore to the eye, buildings that's been just outdated? What are we going to do with these, now that we're going into the technology era, the AI era, the advanced progress era? What are we going to do with these dilapidated, broke down, disgusted housing, neglected housing in our communities? It is an eyesore, and you know how it breaks down. It tears down the value, the community value. It's a desert. It's a desert. It's like a third world community in Milwaukee, for real. And I'm ashamed of our government who allows this such thing, because I remember growing up in this city, and it wasn't like this. The way it's turning into these, it reminds me of Detroit. It reminds me of Mississippi. It reminds me of those, targeted cities and communities that they want to let black people know you're not welcome here, and you will not advance, you will not progress, you will not get educated, you will not get a good job to feed your family, to pay for a cost of living for you. This is the messaging.
Linda, what do you think is the biggest difference between the Milwaukee that you remember seeing, where it looked better, there was more opportunity, we weren't dealing with some of the social issues that we are right now? What do you think the biggest difference is between, say, 40, 50 years ago and right now?
Man, we had so many strong black men who were not...
Oh, we lost you. Hello?
Who were community leaders. They were strong, they were focused, they were educated. They were strong. They were not drug addicts. They were not drug dealers. And they went home to a family. These are the things that I remember.
So we lost the men. Linda, hold on. Linda, I'm trying to have a dialogue. So we lost. So you think it's because we lost the men? There used to be strong men that went home to their families.
That was part of the answer.
Okay.
The other part is a lot of these men had strong employment. They made money. They were able to pay their bills, and they were able to reach back and help a young brother, help a young sister.
So what jobs do we have now?
Them. Right. I'm saying the government, I'm appalled. The government is saying we don't want you here. The educational system is saying we ain't going to teach you. And this is the messaging that I see, and as opposed to the old Milwaukee that I grew up with, where it was plenty of opportunities and plenty of white people that helped black people with a helping hand up. Maybe they were Dutch, maybe they were, the other, type of
Linda,
white
black people
but
couldn't
I'm
go
just
past
saying.
Capitol Drive.
If
Things
you
were
go
not
past
better for black
35th
folks. They weren't better. White folks were more overt with their races back then. There used to be a police chief called Harold Breyer. You remember him? You think that things were better for black people under Harold Breyer than under Jeff Norman?
You go past 35th, man. 35th and Center. I mean, Center from north, from east to west, north to south. Center Street is like the dividing street that turns into, that third street, third world community. Anywhere up and down Center.
So you think white people were more?
I'm
Linda,
going past
stop.
35th and Center.
Linda, stop.
Yeah.
Do you think that white people were less racist in the 1970s than they are right now? They were better to black people. They were more helpful.
They didn't show it as much. They didn't show it. Like I said, Sherwin, my father worked in the construction company here in Milwaukee. We were able to travel to all white community in Slinger. We were the only black family. My parents didn't have no concern for me because those white people treated us like their own, man. They came to our house on 21st and Center. The only white family coming to a black house.
Linda, stop.
And they family stayed there overnight.
Those are your father's friends. That doesn't mean all white people were less racist in the 70s. Your father just knew. Not every white person is terrible, but you're looking at your individual family's experience and your father's friendship with white people to say, oh, white people in general writ large were less racist in the 70s. You can't use that as a benchmark.
No, because we came from Alabama, baby. We came from Alabama. We came from a racist state, and I knew the difference.
So you think the racism that exists right now is new?
No, I just think it's bold. It's more bold now.
All right, well, Linda, I got to take a commercial break. That was a whole bunch of nothing. There just wasn't really anything productive there. We're always more nostalgic about our youth. I can look back and be like, oh, wow, when I grew up in Brown Deer in the 1980s, there was no racism. I also was a kid. And I didn't recognize the brand of racism that my parents were familiar with was overt because they came from the Jim Crow South. So what they warned me about didn't exist here. They were unfamiliar with Northern racism. Northern racism will smile in your face, ask you to come over and play bridge. They'll want to get to know you. They want to get close to you. They'll listen to your same music. Northern racism wears Jordans. And we think like, oh, look, they love our culture. It's a whole different kind of racism. And I think that we as black people haven't really evolved to see it. But also when we talk about, we're going to put this in a context, the jobs that used to be here, factory jobs, assembly, manufacturing, breweries. American labor is too expensive because y'all love to shop at dollar stores. People don't like to pay. Now, I can also say the wages haven't gone up, but as long as y'all are shopping at Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, Dollar General, Dollar Mart, Sam's Club, Walmart, then we don't need American labor making that stuff because we got to pay American laborers too much money because American laborers have union representation. American laborers get dental insurance, life insurance, health insurance, paid vacation. American labor gets eye doctor insurance. Too expensive. We like cheap stuff, and if American consumers like cheap stuff, then American labor is going to be too expensive. There was a period of time when American labor was preferred, but also foreign countries after World War II had no infrastructure to manufacture. So if you needed anything, it was made in America. Once foreign countries started to rebuild and be able to produce, they could do so cheaper than American labor. So that's why we don't have the factory jobs anymore. That's number one. Number two, nobody wants to work in a factory. Who wants to work in it was terrible work. It was, you just put the caps on the beer bottles, 75 caps an hour. You got you just putting the caps. Nobody wants to do that. And we over here calling them good jobs. Them jobs sucked. Now, the money was good, but it was also mind-numbing and caused a lot of blue-collar workers to just drink to numb the pain. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Milwaukee Black Talk.
You don't want to be there. You don't like the work. You don't like the people. Now, there are some differences. The only difference is modern American slavery and capitalism versus 19th century. We were dramatically more primitive back then. And a slave that is able to buy their freedom is the same as the disaffected, disgruntled worker that is able to buy their way into entrepreneurship because that for them is free.
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
At Versity on King, we believe taking care of our community starts right here, together. Every day, neighbors step up to donate blood, helping save lives in Milwaukee and beyond. But Versity on King is more than a donor center. It's a place for health education, community connection, and support, especially for families facing conditions like sickle cell disease. When you donate blood, you're not just giving. You're showing up for your community. Visit versity.org/VersityOnKing to learn more or schedule your donation today. Versity on King, rooted in community, powered by hope.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about four walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your family's tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
We're talking about a lot of things. Crime, I guess, and the de-evolution of the African-American black community. And in all the topics we're discussing, even giving you guys some crime statistics, which I didn't even get partially through. Millicent sent us a text message at 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. And of all the things we're talking about, we're covering a lot of ground today. We're even talking about our YouTube poll where 62% of you all say that the perception of crime in the city of Milwaukee does impact your social life. Like, you may not go out, you may not go certain places because crime is so bad. Actually, 65% say yes. The threat of violence impacts your social life. 35% say no. I voted no. But in all the things that we're discussing and we're looking for some solutions, Millicent says, and I quote, I want to make sure I get this right. Bill is innocent. So that's what she said. If you give a woman a bunch of Quaaludes and she's just laying there, that's, unless she says, or unless she brings her own Quaaludes. Maybe. I wasn't there. It's probably a good thing I wasn't there because maybe Bill would have given me some Quaaludes. I don't know. Well, Millicent thinks that Bill Clinton is, no, Bill Cosby. Bill Clinton is innocent too. What did he do? The whole Epstein Island thing? Relax, everybody. He didn't go there. He just went to see what was going on. Hey, I just want to see what's popping. I just want to see what's going on. It almost makes us look bad to continue to talk about the Epstein files because nothing is happening. I also find it unusual that, not that I'm saying these things are directly connected, but Savannah Guthrie, whose 84-year-old mother got kidnapped. First of all, who kidnaps the 84-year-old mother of a daytime news anchor? Weird. But the fact that Pam Bondi, who was the head of the Department of Justice, she was the Attorney General of the United States, her and Savannah Guthrie, Pam Bondi, who was fired on Thursday of last week, they had a 30-year friendship. Pam Bondi, who leads the agencies that can find anybody. The FBI essentially has an unlimited budget. And Pam Bondi and Savannah Guthrie being friends, Savannah Guthrie's mother goes missing. Pam Bondi gets fired on Thursday. Savannah Guthrie is back on the air today. Within a week or 10 days, they're going to say that Savannah Guthrie's mother is dead. She's dead. But I think that they used Savannah Guthrie's kidnapped 84-year-old mother as a further distraction from the Epstein files. It'll all make sense to you one day. Victim demographics, violent crime, especially homicide. 75 to 80% of homicide victims are black, 80 to 85% are male. Majority are intra-racial. Victim and offender are the same race. Firearms are involved in 50+% of these assaults. Milwaukee's population is between 38 and 40% black, between 35 and 37% white, 18 to 20% Hispanic. Black residents are overrepresented among victims relative to the population share. White residents are underrepresented in violent crime victimization. Property crime is more evenly distributed across racial groups. Concentration of poverty and segregation is why they say these patterns exist. Higher exposure to high crime neighborhoods. Network effects, crime clustered within social networks. Why would you take it upon yourself, if you're a non-black person, to reduce homicides in the black community? Let's say you don't like black people. Let's say there are people in this city that don't like black people. Why would you want to improve those statistics if you don't like black people to begin with? And billions of dollars are poured nationwide into crime prevention strategies in the black community, and white people are profiting off of it. We'll talk about that in hour 3. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
Hello, is this Shirley?
This is she.
Shirley, you are our Gruber 5K giveaway winner this quarter. Congratulations.
What would you do with $5,000?
Going to look at buying me a pickup truck. That will be some of my down payment.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
I love you guys.
I got money now. Truth Nation is the best fan base in the country.
I won tickets last week on your show to see The Wiz. I just wanted to call and say thank you and say I appreciate you. I appreciate the show. I appreciate the station. That was a core memory that was made last night. The Wiz was an amazing performance.
We want you to tap into the talk and text line every show, every day at 833-212-1017. Milwaukee Black Talk, 1017 The Truth.
I take care of the kids, and I take care of my dad. I take care of things at work. The groceries, the cleanups, the meltdowns, the doctor's visits, the family events, mealtimes, bedtimes. I take care of all the things everyone else needs. But I haven't made time to take care of what I need.
Family caregivers are often overloaded. It can feel overwhelming and exhausting. It's no surprise that millions of caregivers experience symptoms of anxiety and depression every year. But help is available, because there may only be one you, but you don't have to do it alone. Head to mentalhealthcareworks.org. That's mentalhealthcareworks.org to learn how to get the support you deserve, because mental health care works when you make the call. If you're experiencing a mental health crisis or thoughts of suicide, dial 988, a message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
There are many times I thought, I can't do this. I mean, what parent isn't worried about, what am I not doing right? What am I not doing enough? And then I realized, wait, that's being a parent.
Don't worry about being perfect. I've had around 3 other mother figures in my life, but only one of them has taught me how a mother loves.
The greatest reward for me is he makes me better every day.
I would tell a family considering adopting a teenager that teenager, whoever it is, needs you, and they need what you have to offer.
Taylor's given me hope. He's our son, and that is what he will always be.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Breaking news, weather, entertainment, and sports. We have it all here. This is 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Our phone number is 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. You can join us on YouTube, youtube.com, or open up your YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device. Search 1017 The Truth and hit subscribe. You'll be able to view the streams of our programs, either live or shows that have already taken place. You also can vote in our daily YouTube polls. Today we're asking you the question: does the threat of violence impact your social life? And with 83 people casting votes so far, 64% of you say yes. The threat of violence, I'm assuming in the cities in which you live, does impact your social life. I am talking about the likelihood, the presence and prevalence of violent crime in the city of Milwaukee. And of course, I'm using that city as an example because 95% of the cities in America are actually safer than this one. So I find it interesting when somebody says, oh, Milwaukee is turning into Detroit. Detroit is doing better than us. The state of Mississippi has shown more progress in black boys reading on grade level than Wisconsin. So even when people use the worst example in the entire country, they're beginning to outperform us. If anything, Mississippi is probably, well, I sure don't want us to turn into Wisconsin. Ooh-wee. You know how those Mississippi people sound. If, and this is a rhetorical, let's say there's racism in Milwaukee and it's rooted in the geographic segregation that was created and the redlining and housing covenants that say in certain suburban neighborhoods you simply cannot sell, you cannot rent your property to someone who is not white. And this was actually in the deeds of those properties. And let's say with that institutional kind of segregation, that attitudes about race also grew right along with that institutional kind of segregation. Let's just assume there's a cohort of white people in southeastern Wisconsin in this metro area that they don't like black people because we don't tip, because we're obnoxious and we're loud and we take their jobs, or because of all this affirmative action and DEI, we're getting into colleges and universities and we're getting promotions that we don't deserve. Believe it or not, there are people that actually think that. And so then when you hear that 80 to 85% of the homicides are black men between the ages of 18 and 29, you don't take that on as a problem that you think needs solving. Remember, if you hate black people, you're okay with black people killing one another. Now, you're also not going to go into a black neighborhood or a black community. You may buy property in a black neighborhood or a black community to rent to black people to economically exploit them, but you're not going to shop at black-owned businesses, and you're not going to generally hang out in the black community, especially with people answering this survey the way that they did. 2/3 of people, essentially, don't do certain things or don't hang out socially because of the threat of crime and violence. So if black people, per the data, are committing more homicides against one another than any other racial group. Why would you stop that? Why would you, like, if you don't care about black folks, that's what I'm trying to get people to conceptualize. If you already don't like black people and you find out there's a homicide problem that exists in the black community, you're not going to involve yourself. But then I use this as an example. I've lost friends to the drug, opioid, heroin epidemic. People I've known my entire life that I grew up with, and I did nothing about it. Why would I? I mean, I could, but no, man, not really. What am I going to do about it? So if I know of a social ill that is claiming more white lives than black, hear me out, I'm going to call it a white people's problem, and I'm not going to get involved in it. Now, there are some well-meaning white people that are disturbed by these homicide percentages of black men between the ages of 18 and 29 between the hours of 8 p.m. and 3 a.m., where they are much more likely to be victims, but they may also see it as a black problem. That's why I started the show saying this is a problem that we have to solve. Now, and we do. We try to come up with ideas and solutions. We have a whole office of community wellness and safety. I don't know what their budget is, but it's probably $1 million or more. But that's not the only organization or agency dedicated to reducing and mitigating not just homicide, but crime writ large in the black community. In fact, when I get to the details, assuming that I will be able to get to them, billions of dollars are spent, whether it be philanthropic dollars, state grants, federal grants from the Department of Justice, is funneled into crime prevention, specifically in the black community. So if it's $1 billion industry, it almost, to keep $1 billion industry going, you still need black people killing each other so you can fund the anti-black people killing each other programs. Let's talk to someone who knows all about this. Let's talk to someone who I think maybe has killed a black person in their life, actually. Hello, Bob. Bob, are you there? Bob, you fall asleep? I don't even hear the sounds of his phone. Is his volume up on the... All right, well, Bob is too busy killing somebody black. Breakdown by time of day. So if you're a black male, and some of you are, between the ages of... No, hold on, what are the ages here? So the highest risk group of black men is 18 to 29. 35 to 40% of homicide victims fall into this range. That's consistent across all data sets. The second is 30 to the age of 44. The lowest risk black people when it comes to homicide are children and elderly, except for specific abuse and neglect categories. So the two highest categories are basically 18 to age 44. I've aged out of both, thankfully. All right. Some of you have too. Property crime victimization, more evenly distributed, but higher among 25 to 54-year-old working age adults. Young adult males face the highest violent victimization probability by far. So, okay, because men are more likely to be victims of crime. We are. I mean, women are victims too, but it's men usually killing men and robbing men. You know what I'm saying? Why aren't women more involved? Because women may see it as a men's problem. If women were killing each other, if women between the ages of 18 and 44 were just offing each other in record numbers, I wouldn't mansplain my way into that. I'd be like, oh, that's a woman problem. I'll let the women handle that. Even though that's not how I'm supposed to think, we're supposed to think like, oh, a subsection of our community is overwhelmingly perpetrating and victimizing women in our community. If women are killing a whole bunch of women, I need to intervene. I need to be as helpful as I can so I can reduce the number of women that are killing one another. But we don't do that. We're like, oh, the women will figure it out. And if anything, imagine if the tables were turned and women were the highest perpetrators of homicide. I would just stay away from women. Like, I don't want to be around those killer ladies. I don't want to get murked. Violent crime timing. The peak window is between 8 p.m. and 3 a.m. Highest concentrations are late night weekends, Friday and Saturday. So, if you don't want to be a homicide victim and you're a black male between the ages of 18 and 44, be home by 8 o'clock, especially on Friday and Saturday nights, and you will dramatically reduce your chances of being murdered. Property crime is a little bit different. That peaks between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Burglaries of people at work, and then late night is when the categories of auto theft and theft from vehicles is more common, and that's not relegated to the weekends. That is 7 days a week. So anytime after the sun goes down, your car is more likely to be stolen, and your vehicle is much more likely to be broken into. The highest crime category in the city of Milwaukee is absolutely property crime, and it peaks between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. But if you're concerned about homicides and murders, and if you're a black fellow like I, just be home at 8 o'clock. You'll be fine. Go to happy hour. Go to happy hour. You're done with work. What time you guys done with work? 5:30? Go to happy hour. Get you a couple of drinks. Get you 2-3 little drinks. Get you some chicken wings and some little light hors d'oeuvres. Boom, you're home by 7. You're in bed by 9 o'clock, and you're not murdered. See there? See how easy that is to not get murdered? And also, don't argue with someone that has a gun. That helps a lot. Don't bring your gun into a bar where people are drinking. There should be metal detectors. Don't bring a gun. In Wisconsin, even if you have the right to concealed carry, we are absolute sobriety, and the trade-off with that was you can't drink at all. You can't even have a sip, not even one shot of drink of alcoholic liquors, not a single drop of a spirit. But when you get pulled over by the police, you are not legally obligated to tell them that you are a concealed carry permit holder. I think they can see it, though, when they run your information. Point of clarity, if you are driving and or operating a motor vehicle in the state of Wisconsin, you are required to produce a valid driver's license and proof of insurance. You would think that would be self-explanatory, but people need to hear this. Some people think they don't have to provide their ID. Yes, you do. We got to provide a driver's license. If you are driving, you have to be a licensed driver, and you legally have to carry your driver's license with you. If you don't have, even if you are a licensed driver in good standing, no suspensions, no revocations, you still are required to have that card on your person. If not, that's a violation too. So please carry your driver's license. I don't know why everybody thinks they're a sovereign citizen. I don't have to provide. Well, yes, you do. Unless you're walking, then you don't have to provide anything. I don't have to provide you my driver's license. If you are using the privilege of Wisconsin roads, you have to be a certified licensed driver to be able to participate in the privilege of driving your Nissan Altima on Wisconsin roads. It's very simple. Nissan Altimas are the worst. The second one are Infinities. Why do Infinities feel the need to go double the speed limit wherever they go? They're not going to run out of Popeye's chicken. There's still going to be plenty of chicken by the time you get there. You don't need to go 214 kilometers per hour. Let me take that back. They will run out of Popeye's chicken. Not that I go to Popeye's chicken very often, but I mean, sometimes you gotta. Popeyes is the only place that will run out of the only thing that they sell and then get mad at you because they ran out. We ain't got no chicken. What you want to do about it? Well, I mean, obviously nothing. You know what? Stay right there in the drive-thru. They come out, take their apron off, start rolling up their sleeves, ready to fight you because you ordered chicken and they ran out. But, sir, it's 12:15. It's the middle of lunchtime. We don't got no chicken. I think Applebee's is filing for bankruptcy, by the way. I think I read that over the weekend. Who goes to Applebee's anyway? What are you going to Applebee's for? Why would you do that? We all know that Chili's is a better choice. Nobody's gone to Applebee's since 1997 when they had $1.99 margaritas. Why would you? Applebee's. That's where you take someone you don't love. I'm going to take a break. When I come back, I'm going to give you crime in Milwaukee, concentrated by zip code. Some of these you would expect. Others may shock you. Because I'm trying to keep you guys safe. I don't want any of you to get murdered. I want you all to live long, be very happy. I want you to make money. I want you to make love. And I'm trying to keep you safe, so I'm going to give you the information and the details that you need to know. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply some science and some logic and some objective fact to crime in the city of Milwaukee. No, every time you leave the house, you're not going to get murdered. But if you are a certain demographic of a certain age in a certain geographic area, a certain zip code, and it's between 8 p.m. and 3 a.m., it just increases your likelihood. So if you defy some of those categories, you'll be perfectly fine. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, it's that time again for the Tory Low Community Cleanup. Mark your calendars for Saturday, April 18th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. as we come together to clean up the city of Milwaukee. Be part of making a difference in our community. The Tory Low Community Cleanup, Saturday, April 18th, 8 to noon. Sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, Steinhoffels, Cousin Subs, Waste Management, and presented by the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District, your clean water partner, serving Greater Milwaukee for 100 years.
As the White House threatens to take over state elections, restrict abortion nationwide, and take away our health care, the Wisconsin Supreme Court is the last line of defense for our rights. That's why the Supreme Court election on April 7th is so critical. The ACLU does not endorse or oppose candidates, but wants you to make an informed decision. When it comes to abortion rights, Maria Lazar supported overturning Roe v. Wade and is endorsed by groups that want to ban abortion. Chris Taylor voted against abortion bans and defended abortion rights while working with Planned Parenthood. And on the issue of voting rights in Wisconsin, Maria Lazar defended efforts to rig elections for one political party through extreme gerrymandering of congressional and legislative districts. Chris Taylor opposes rigging the system with extreme partisan gerrymandering. On April 7th, stand up for our rights. Paid for by American Civil Liberties Union, Incorporated.
At Milwaukee College Prep, we don't leave success to chance. We're designed for it. With strong support, high expectations, and a team committed to excellence, our educators turn belief into outcomes every day. If you believe every child deserves an excellent education, join Milwaukee College Prep. Apply today. Visit mkeprep.com/jobs.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
I'm Sherwin Hughes, and I know the power of Stars and Stripes Honor Flight firsthand. As someone who's been on an honor flight, I can tell you it's a day you'll never forget. Stars and Stripes Honor Flight gives our oldest veterans who served in any location in June of 1975 or earlier a free one-day trip to Washington, D.C. for veterans. Airfare, meals, a coach bus tour, and special flight apparel are all included. It's a day of honor, gratitude, and camaraderie. Veterans who served in the Vietnam or Korean War go to flysshf.org and ask for an application.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
My neck, my back, work at welfare and back. My neck, my back, work at welfare and back. You don't know me, I got G's. My back, you crawling on your knees. My back, I got welfare so clean.
Wow, Al, you've got a bunch of different. Did you know that song existed, Al?
No, I didn't, but it's funny.
Before you get started, you came up yesterday during Easter dinner. My mother and my auntie were like, why does Al talk so nasty on your show, Sherwin? But when he calls other shows, he doesn't talk so nasty. I couldn't answer that question. Maybe you can answer it for my mother and my aunt.
Well, you know what? I'm going to try to work on that. But see, some of them other shows, they're so conservative. You know, some of them will say, well, I don't know. Yes, you do. I don't know. Yes, you do. But some of them will sit there and say, well, I don't do that. Oh, okay. You're against abortion. Okay. But you in practice no birth control, but you got only one child. And the other one, oh, I don't know. Oh, okay. So it's just palm trees, dandelions, and hostas and crocuses and perennials outside. So sometimes we cannot feed the community bull sugar honey iced tea. That's how you get a bad recipe.
Oh, all right. That makes sense.
Okay, well, I'm going to be on. Okay, number one, even though Cosby did what he did, he is not the reason why churches have sexual abuse and child molestation insurance, okay? They'll never talk about that.
You can get insurance? I didn't know they offered insurance for child molestation and sexual abuse.
Yes, churches have that. So, you know, when you hear all this rhetoric and they can't control their emotions and their carnal desires, yeah. So, yeah, church, y'all can Google that. Churches have sexual abuse and child molestation insurance. Whoever started that is a billionaire. Number two, Breyer will beat your ass and F you up even though he's racist. So they had a certain respect from Breyer. When it came to the inner city houses, 286-3441, press 0. They're not using it enough. And we have to look at the fact that the standards has been lowered for people to be deplorables in our neighborhood. And they need to move to Fond du Lac and Oxcott. They got jobs up there, by the way. They need to move. They don't belong around us. And see, for those type of people, we got to let them rock. We got to let them die out. Why should somebody black tell you how to act? They know how to act when they get around Bradshaw, Wawakowski, Mr. Zulinski. They know how to act when they get around them. But then when they get around us, we know how to, throw pots and pans out the window, diapers and blunt wraps. They don't need to be in our neighborhood. They need to go somewhere. You have to let them rock. And then with the crime we are having, the toxic masculinity is only good with black people. Like when you hear on other shows, they say the toxic masculinity is okay, but then when it comes to the white man who just went upside your head and came into your house and sprayed urine all over your walls, now we just want transparency and understanding. But then when it comes to your own, you got to stand your ground and be a man. But why is it you got to stand your ground and be a man when it comes to you, when it comes to your own people, but when it comes to the one who want to molest your daughter, you're looking for transparency. So, it's that psychological warfare. When it comes to your own, it's okay. But when it comes to Whitey, now we're going to be civil and we need to sit down and talk at the table. And then the other reason why we don't have no power in Milwaukee, we're too personal, number one, with our own kind. And then the people we have representing us got snake energy. You got Cavalier Johnson, right? And you remember he hired was that one dude, Hamilton. That's snake energy. If you don't endorse me, you don't like me, I'm not going to ask you to work for me. That's like me letting the bully beat me up, put me in ICU, but we're going to hold hands and then you're going to work for me. And then, of course, they barely like each other downtown. They pretty much hate each other guts. So why they going to do anything for the inner city? It's a double-edged sword. And I bet you if we was white and had Subarus and talked through our nostrils and walked on our tippy toes, so this whole inner city of Milwaukee would be fixed. But it's only certain things that's allowed on the north side that them same black politicians wouldn't allow in no any other community within Milwaukee. Go about 15 minutes west to the high numbers on Capitol, or go over there to to Whitefish Bay. Them black politicians wouldn't move that way, but you have to look at the complexion of our skin. Can't you see that on how they talk when it comes to us? I don't know. We got to figure something out. But let somebody get hit by a Daewoo that eats that beans and barley. Oh, they finna shut that sugar honey iced tea down and get all that put together. But I'm going to hang up and get ready to go. But if you're looking for some good chicken, go to Quick Trip and get you some of that good fried chicken. You don't have to wait 35 minutes. You don't have to wait for 35 minutes and they tell you they don't got the pieces. Or go up on 41st and you can hear that crunch when you eat that chicken. All right, y'all have yourself a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Al. That was a lot of stuff. First time I had Quick Trip fried chicken, LT brought it to the studio. You know I can't get down with Quick Trip because they funded, so the owners of Quick Trip funded a group that attacked the Capitol on January 6th. We all love Quick Trip. I don't think there are any in the city of Milwaukee, if I'm not mistaken. There's also no Chick-fil-A's in the city of Milwaukee. Am I right? I think I'm right. But Chick-fil-A is overrated. What'd you say, X?
There's a Quick Trip on Highway 100.
Where the Highway 100 usually is.
Oh, no, I'm wrong. That's Speedway.
Yeah, there's none in Milwaukee. That's on purpose. You would think if you want to sell chicken, you would want to have restaurants and stores and retail outlets in the city of Milwaukee. I mean, a Chick-fil-A would do well, like downtown on the east side. I think it would do well, but they don't want to have them in the city of Milwaukee. There's we'll hear a lot about how the properties look in the African American community. Let's say a house is in really bad shape. It'll just sit there, or it'll be boarded up for years, or let's say there was a fire. And it didn't totally destroy the house, but the house is still burned out and it sits there. And there's probably a lot of properties that should be torn down. Maybe they could be salvaged, maybe they couldn't. And we wonder why we see so many of those in the African American neighborhoods. And it hurts the overall perception of the community. First and foremost, who is going to pay to fix those houses up? It's probably not going to be people in the community. That's number one. If the city pays to tear them down, then we're going to have to take property tax money to tear those properties down. And now you have a vacant lot, which nobody is going to buy anyway. And also, somebody will buy those houses. They will. It's also going to gentrify the neighborhood. So I'm almost proving Al's point. It's like a double-edged sword in the black community. We want property values and property taxes to be low. Even though it's a bad investment, it's a bad business decision. But if property taxes are lower, it also is going to impact the amount of revenue the schools in that area and that attendance area are going to get, because those schools are funded off of property tax dollars. But if you have black people that make less money and a lot of our homeowners are on fixed incomes, if their property taxes increase like they just did this most recent tax year, then more homeowners who have provided stability in that neighborhood are going to lose their property to tax foreclosure. So after the big home foreclosure crisis, which really hit Milwaukee really, really hard. So 2013, 14, and 15, I believe, were those years. So the home foreclosure crisis was over. People were buying houses again. Banks were lending again. Interest rates were reasonable. We found out there was another phenomenon going on, and I don't think that it stopped. Up until, at least until the pandemic started, which after and during the pandemic, everything got kind of screwed up. The city of Milwaukee owned more properties than the banks did during the home foreclosure crisis. So now you have to worry about the city foreclosing on properties. And with this most recent and dramatic increase in property taxes because of the MPS referendum, which we told y'all not to vote for because student performance is going to continue to suffer, but more people are going to lose their houses because they're not going to be able to afford to pay their property taxes. And student performance is going to continue to go down. And the district is probably a year, maybe a year and a half away from asking for another referendum, and they'll probably get it. Because the people that vote yes on the referenda either are public school teachers, administrators, or other office professionals that can afford an increase in property taxes because it will also be a corresponding increases to their salary. And then the other portion of people that vote for MPS referenda don't send their kids to public school in the first place, and they think they're doing their good deed by voting for more money for the district. And what it ultimately does is it displaces more residents, because when property taxes go up, it increases the amount of property that the city of Milwaukee forecloses on, because if you don't pay your property taxes, the city will come and take receivership of your home. 833-212-1017 is our number. Dion just texted in, I need to read this because some of you need to hear it. He said Quick Trip is trash. So there you go. And before that, Millicent said Bill Cosby is innocent. So a lot of profound text messages we're getting at 833-212-1017. When I come back, I'm going to give you the highest crime risk zip codes in the city of Milwaukee. So if you don't want to be murdered or have your Nissan Altima stolen or your Hyundai or your Kia or whatever, I'm going to give you the list of zip codes that you should avoid, especially if you're a black man between the ages of 18 and 44 and you're out between 8 p.m. and 3 a.m., especially on Friday and Saturday nights. I'm going to try and stop you from getting all murdered because we don't want that. We want you to live a long time and die of something cool, not murder. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Are you planning a special event? Do you need a personal chef? Either way, make it tasteful. I'm Alicia the Chef, owner of Tasteful Events Catering, and we create customized food experiences for any occasion. We bring quality, flavor, and professionalism to every table. Whether it's a special event or everyday meal solutions, we focus on delivering more than just food. We create experiences. Book today or learn more online at www.tastefuleventscatering.com.
Still think you're going to use those old chemicals just sitting around under the sink, in the garage, or down in the basement? So don't let them sit there. Get rid of them right away to MMSD's Home Hazmat Drop-Off Centers. It's safe, it's easy, and it's open to all Milwaukee County residents. There are 3 locations open year-round. The Tory Low Community Cleanup is happening April 18th, and with a mobile drop-off to help you clear out that waste. Visit us at MLK Elementary School at 3275 North 3rd Street from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Let's clean up Milwaukee.
Do you hear that? And that? And that? Those are the sounds of a healthy and vibrant community. And to this United Way volunteer, nothing sounds better. They're the sounds of children being given greater chances to succeed in school. The sounds of neighbors receiving the support needed to overcome challenges, both big and small. They're the sounds of families gaining access to quality health care and nutritious food for their tables. And they're the sounds of members of our community who've benefited from United Way's financial education programs. See, wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way. People working together to respond and growing the good for everyone. United is the way. So join us by getting involved or giving back. Learn more at unitedway.org.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
highest risk zip codes. So if you don't want to be a victim, how many do they list here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Fourth on the list is 53209. Next, third on the list is 53208. Stay out of those, especially if you're a black person. You're going to get shot or you're going to get all homicided. Next is 53205. That's the north side. Actually, all of them are north side zip codes. And then number one, if you had to guess. I'm so tired of y'all picking on 53206. Is there a documentary on the good things happening in 06? The number of young people that are getting college scholarships, maybe business startups in the 06. Has there been an increase in home ownership in the 06? If I was to recommend a neighborhood where home ownership would be most affordable, probably in these 4 zip codes. But, you know, there's going to be some unintended consequences, but don't worry about that. Don't worry. The characteristics of these 4 zip codes, they say high poverty rates, but I don't. Being poor, it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be a criminal. Maybe it means you're more likely to be a victim. Okay, why don't we put this, because I just don't think it's fair. Because every poor person doesn't steal or commit crimes. Rich people commit just as many crimes as anybody else, and their crimes are even worse because they can get away with it. Okay, saying a poor person is more likely to commit a crime. I don't know what their victimhood status is. I think they're more likely to be a victim than a perpetrator. But that's just going off of my own anecdotal evidence. But saying a poor person or saying poverty increases crime is like saying because somebody's ugly, they don't get laid. Right? Ugly people get it. They do. Sometimes I wonder, you look at some people and you're like, how do you have kids? Who had sex with you? No, I don't like the correlation because the economy is changing or someone got downsized or someone got laid off or they got in over their head with credit card debt or inflation or the cost of groceries or the cost of fuel can push somebody deep into poverty, or maybe they just have a lot of children and children are very expensive. I don't think that automatically should be an included statistic in crime because somebody is poor. The other statistics that they give or characteristics of 53209, 08, 05, and 06 is they have a high rate of vacant and boarded up properties, which would make sense because if the house is uninhabited, you can do illegal things in the house. I think using hip-hop vernacular, they call those bandos because it's an abandoned house. Someone had to tell me what that meant because it would be in popular hip-hop rap music songs. Oh, I was trapping out the bando. I'm like, I wonder what kind of architecture a bando is. I thought it was like a specific kind of house. No, and it's an abandoned building.
Do you know that?
Why would I know that? I'm 51 years old. I'm at an age now where I get to use my age as an excuse for not knowing the stuff that kids know because I don't want to know the stuff that kids know because I don't want to be a kid. I don't ever want to be young. Some people say, oh, I wish I could go back to whatever age. I don't. I like this age because the older I get, the less I give a fig Newton. I remember back when I cared about all sorts of stuff. I used to care about stuff that I can't change. Like, no, the world is in such bad shape. Now I'm just like, I guess I'll talk about it for 3 hours and then go back to enjoying a really lush and lavish lifestyle. You know, what am I going to do? That's one thing that I've come to accept, and I'm so much happier. My anxiety is way lower. People are worried about stuff that they can't change. Like they're worried about what somebody else is doing. And, I don't like what you're doing. I wish you would do different. I wish you would let that person be. They're going to do what they want to do anyway. Just don't Some stuff you can't change. I can't stop white men from punching their wives in the face, so I don't worry about it. Now, should I worry about it? No, but I can't change it. I can't go into a white person's house and say, sir, put that handle of Jack Daniels down and put on a clean T-shirt and stop punching your wife in the face. Now, I don't want him to punch his wife in the face, but I have no power to stop that. And because I don't have power to change stuff, I can't be concerned about it. Now, there are things I do have the ability to impact. I can impact what we know, and when it comes to information, I can be very informative when it comes to voting and elections and what the future of our democracy looks like. So I'm going to put my effort and my energy to where I know that I can make a difference. But on a whole bunch of this stuff, I can't. You know what else I can't stop? You know how some white people talk where even when they make a statement, it sounds like they're asking a question? Because at the end of the sentence, their voice tonality goes up. Like, oh, hello, is what Sherwin would say. What's your name? My name is Sally Mae. Oh, hi, Sally Mae. What do you do for a living? I work at the Quick Trip. I have no power to stop white people from talking that way. Where did that come from? And please stop it. It's a statement. Why does the end of the sentence, your voice tone goes up? So here would be a legitimate way to do that. Sherwin, you work at 1017 The Truth? And I would say, yes, I do. Do you like it there? See, those are questions. The tonality at the end of the statement or the end of the question, the answer or the end of the what's this word called for a question? An interrogative. That's what it is. But if you're making a statement, Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president? I don't know. Was he? Sandra, you're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
I'm just fine. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. What's on your mind?
Yeah, you were talking about the property in the city and the bad zip codes and all that stuff. Like, I was raised in 06. But like I say, I'm an older person, so it was nice back then. And then when they started depleting the neighborhoods, I think it was a system already planned to deplete and then build at 43. And got through the houses that were there, the parks that were there, and then the white people started putting up signs, we don't want to move to suburbia, we like it here. And see, I'm 77. So that was pre-planned for a long time, and these empty boarded up houses been up for years. I mean, almost a half a century. So it's a mess going on up in our government. And politically, it was done on purpose, because every central city is gutted out the same way. And first Barrett said we was going to be a Detroit. He knew what was going on. They all knew, because when they started sending the jobs out, offshore and all that stuff, and they said all this stuff people were talking about, the Mexicans, the jobs that they were doing, picking all that stuff in the fields. Well, they got machinery and equipment doing that stuff now. They don't need nobody. They got the robots. They're not going to really nobody. They're just telling us all, feeding us all this stuff. And before we know it, we all going to be extinct. Except for the super rich, because they know how to survive, because they'll go up to the moon, because they're already building a city up there for themselves, or the bunkers down below. But this empty stuff and all of this city property, they're doing the garbage there. The city stopped them from dumping at city sites because they had to pay. So now landlords don't want to pay, so they dump it in city lots. So now we got all the garbage people don't want to pay to dump. So it seems like it's always we the people, and then the government want us to take it and do it ourselves. Why take our tax dollars then?
Fair point.
Why should we pay taxes if we're going to clean up the city ourselves and do the city? But you still got to go by their rules and regulations to build property. All that stuff you got to go through to do it. So, that's what I want to say, because I listen to it, and I get so angry when I think about the things politically done, systemically done, that's killing us, killing our property and stuff. Okay, bye. Right. I ain't going to talk to you all. Okay, right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Sandra. All right. Have we ever thought about when a property becomes vacant, we buy it? No? Okay. What if we had an agenda to, alleviate a few of these problems, maybe some of the quality of life issues, but it will require us to support political candidates that also are just as fed up as us. But hardest thing to do. So there's an election tomorrow. Maybe 20% turnout. Maybe. I don't even know if it'll be that high. Dane County is going to be probably 60%. Milwaukee County, 35%. If, this is not a nice thing to say, if I can get elected and reelected forever to where I have a pension and a retirement from being an elected official, and I don't have to involve myself with African American issues, then why would you? If I can get elected and reelected without the black vote, in fact, if the black vote is suppressed, and really all you have to do to suppress the black vote is just not talk about an election, and we just won't. We won't do it. And so if let's say there's issues in 53205, 53206, 53208, and 53209, whatever they are, crime, poverty, low levels of education, and if I can get elected and reelected and make elected official money and get elected official benefits, all the persons make $83,000, $84,000 a year plus whatever benefits, whatever perks. But if I don't have to fix anything because the people that need the most help or that could benefit from incremental improvements, and also it's not that easy because we make it seem like, okay, you're all the person of an area, clean it up. No, you can't. You need cooperation from the entire community, and you need cooperation from a majority of the people on the council. So it's not as easy as you may think. But if I just don't really do anything and I can get elected and reelected, most people will take the path of least resistance. Now, there's also people that say, look, I only want to serve for a couple of terms. I'm going to do as much as I can, and then after that, I'm going to let somebody else serve in the people's seat, the people's legislative district. But then there's other folks that realize, like, wait, I got a majority African-American population. If I just appease or answer the phone calls or help 10 or 15% of the people in my district, I can get reelected forever. That's what they're going to do. Because even if, this is the unfortunate thing, and black elected officials will tell you this, if you ask them this off the record, one-on-one, usually when they're better than a .08, they'll tell you that the people that they want to do the most for participate the least. They vote the least, they're engaged the least, they're involved the least. They obviously have the most to gain because they live in the worst conditions. And if an older person says, you know what, let's begin to work on some things over in this neighborhood, let's get some community centers, let's get a better relationship with the police, all of those things could be in the purview of an elected official. But then they do those things for those individuals and voter turnout doesn't even go up. So if you know that these people are not going to assist you, even if you do a lot for them, and whatever a lot is, I'm not even sure anymore. But let's say you do a lot for folks that are suffering the worst in your community and you turn their lives around and their voter participation is still single digits, then what's the point? The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
At Junior Achievement, students learn how innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship can turn a simple idea into something that changes an industry. With support from Cost Corporation, students are discovering how engineering, product design, and smart marketing bring great ideas to life. From pioneering studio headphones to building a brand recognized around the world, Cost shows students how technology and creativity shape the way we experience music. Learn more at ja.org.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 101.7 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about four walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your family's tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
From office lunches to family celebrations, Cousin Subs has the crowd-pleasing catering you need. Choose from customizable party boxes, individual box lunches, fresh-baked cookies, and our classic party chips. Everything you need to satisfy any size group, big or small. Ordering is easy online or on the Cousins app, so you can focus on the fun, not the food. Cousin Subs, we believe in better.
Tacos and Tequila Festival, Saturday, May 30th at Franklin Field, featuring live performances by Shaggy, Rick Ross, Genuine, Soulja Boy, Frankie J, Mims, and more. There will be craft margaritas, Milwaukee's best taco vendors, authentic lucha libre wrestling, an exotic card showcase, a Chihuahua beauty patch, art installations, and so much more. Tacos and Tequila Festival, Saturday, May 30th. Get your tickets at tacoandtequilafestival.com.
This April, it's Financial Literacy Month on 1017 The Truth, powered by UW Credit Union. Financial literacy isn't just about money. It's about confidence and making smart decisions for your future. UW Credit Union is here to help with free tools, expert guidance, and resources. From budgeting tips to one-on-one financial coaching and self-guided lessons you can access anytime. Because they're not a bank, they're a partner in your financial journey. Learn more at uwcu.org.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
LaRon says because tonality can put people at ease. When people have the inflection, so when they give a statement, my name is Sherwin, when the tonality goes up, that doesn't put nobody at ease. That means I'm so insecure about making a statement, I need to make it look like I'm asking you what my name is. My name is, I host The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. And that's a unique, like, cultural. Black folks don't talk like that. A lot of them do. That's a them problem. But I think that came up because I don't worry about things that I have no control over. I think that's where we lose our way and we don't focus on the things that we can actually improve because we're worried about what somebody else is doing or worried about another community. I know there's a whole bunch of... I can't stop white people from not liking me because if I'm good... they're not going to like me because they're intimidated. But if I'm bad, then they're not going to like me because I fulfill a stereotype. So what exactly am I supposed to do? So if I'm really smart and really intelligent and I'm a problem solver, then they're nervous because they think, DEI and affirmative action, I'm going to take their job. But if I'm a ghetto gangster thug, they don't like me because I'm going to also murder them and shoot them in the face and steal their vehicle. So I just don't worry about things that I don't have any power to change. Now, there are some things I can have some influence over. In fact, all of us have something or someone that we can influence positively. And that's all it takes. If you just take an inventory of what you can change, and sometimes it's just ourselves. If we improve ourselves, we can make a great difference in lives of the people around us. I need to lose like 30 pounds, okay? I have a feeling that if I lose 30 pounds, everyone's life will just automatically get better. Even if their lives don't get better. My life certainly gets better if I lose 30 pounds. So work on the things that you have control over. I don't know what it is, but food is getting more delicious. It is so not fair. The most delicious food is so bad for you. There's some people that actually take the skin off their chicken. I don't want to live like that. Then I just won't have chicken. I'll just eat some vegetables. Well, you got to take the skin off the chicken. Well, then I don't want. No, I don't want to do that. Take the skin off. High poverty rates, high vacancy rates when it comes to homes, high incarceration rates. Example 53206 has been described as the most economically distressed zip code in Wisconsin. Violent crime rates in these areas can be 5 to 10 times higher than the average moderate zip code. So these are zip codes where you're less likely to get shot in the face, maybe in the butt cheek, maybe in the elbow. 53218, 53216. and 53212. The lowest risk zip codes are 53227, 53224, 53221, and 53220. Those are all South Side and suburban areas. Combined risk model. I don't even know what this is. Any crime of any type in the city of Milwaukee, you have a 1 in 24 chance per year or a 4.2% chance of being a victim of a crime. A violent crime is even less, 1 in 69 or 1.4%. But then there's things that you can do to mitigate the risk, especially if you're a black male between the ages of 18 and 29 or a black male between the ages of 18 and 44. If you are out on a Friday or Saturday night between 8 p.m. and 3 a.m., it doesn't mean you're going to get murdered, doesn't mean you're going to be the victim of a crime. It just means the likelihood goes up because statistically, that is when that particular demographic is most likely the victim and the perpetrator of a violent crime. The high-risk profile, 18 to 29-year-old males that live in 53206 that are active between 8 p.m. and 3 a.m., their estimated risk, just for those factors, being a black male between the ages of 18 and 29 and living in 53206, and you're active in the nighttime hours on weekends in particular, your probability of being a victim of a violent crime is 5 to 10 times higher. Okay. The low-risk profile. Here we go. Being over the age of 40, living in 53220, and having limited late-night exposure. Your violent crime risk, if you are 40 plus, live in here, I got more zip codes you can live in. 53220, 53221, 53224. And I think that's a northwest side, isn't it? And then 53227. Your estimated crime risk or victimization is less than 1% a year. So there you go. Be older, live somewhere else, and be home by 8 o'clock. Crime is highly concentrated. Demographics matter. Time matters significantly. Zip code is the strongest predictor. Where you live in Milwaukee matters more than any citywide average. Thank you all for listening and participating. I appreciate it all very much. Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace is up next.
Need a way to hype up your day?
Hello, is this Shirley?
This is she.
Shirley, you are our Gruber 5K giveaway winner this quarter. Congratulations.
What would you do with $5,000?
Going to look at buying me a pickup truck. That will be some of my down payment.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.